Welcome into the Kettleers starting nine. I'm Joe Pratt. He's Alex Rocco, and we are here for game 28 of the CCBL season as the Wareham Gatemen will do battle with the Kettleers in just a few moments. The Kettleers 17-9-1, Wareham 17-9-1. Wareham, they didn't play yesterday, but Cotuit winning their 17th game of the season last night in a massive win over the Anglers.
It was a massive win last night and a massive two consecutive victories for the Kettleers, both comeback victories, but last night's win even more impressive. Trailing 5-3, scored 5 unanswered runs, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and of course 3 in the 8th. And last night's win, you saw the lineup really contribute 1 through 9, getting hits all throughout the lineup. Tanner Thatch did his thing once again and just being a key figure at the top of the lineup. But it's always good to see the response from the Kettleers. Pitching struggled a bit yesterday, but the bats picked them up.
Yeah, you talk about the response the Kettleers had to make in the early stages of that ball game, being shut out through the first 3 innings, and then Tyler Cerny with his first home run of the season, a 3-run bomb to knot it up at 3-3. Adele Huffman had the chance to catch up with Cerny ahead of game 28, so we'll send it to that and be back with the rest of the Kets starting 9.
Hey guys, my name's Adele Huffman. I'm joined alongside Tyler Cerny from Indiana University. Tyler, as we're now in the second part of the season, have you built any connections on the team that you're definitely going to bring into the rest of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I've made a lot of new friends on this team. This team's super close-knit. Just to name a few, Timo and Luke Hansen I made good friends with, and, Grant J. And, I mean, I could say every person on the team. But yeah, it's been a really fun summer.
And you've met a lot of people. Do you have a favorite part of this summer so far or a favorite memory?
Well, I'll probably say last night when I hit that home run, that was a pretty cool feeling, just getting that first one out of the way. And then, all the teammates in the dugout celebrating for me. So that was pretty awesome.
And with your breakthrough home run last night, what's the biggest takeaway that you're going to take from summer ball or Coach Roberts' teachings?
Well, Coach Roberts is always working with us every single day, trying to make us better in different aspects of the game. So one thing would just be, the base running instincts that he teaches is super beneficial that I think will help me with my game going in the future. So.
And today we're facing Wareham, who we're neck and neck with in the rankings. How do you keep the momentum going now that we're in the later half of the season?
We just got to stay as a team and play the way that we know how to play. I think right now we're seeing the ball pretty well in offense, and we're pitching it really well. So just keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to, I think, come out on top.
Awesome, and congratulations on that breakthrough home run, and we'll send it back to you, Joe and Alex.
Thanks, Adele, as we welcome you back into the starting 9. And we're taking a look at the pitching matchup for today's game. Taylor C. will get his first start for the Kettleers, going up against Heath Andrews out of NC State for Wareham. What can we expect from Andrews?
And Andrews entering his sophomore year at NC State, but this summer really has done well. Has a 2-0 record, a 1.64 ERA after struggling. Had over a 10 ERA at NC State this past year as a freshman, but for Andrews so far this year in his 2 starts, gotten a lot of strikeouts, 10 strikeouts so far, and just around 10 innings worked, and he's really done a nice job locating in the zone. This is going to be a tough battle for the Kettleers offense.
Yeah, it is, and he'll be going up against the Texas State right-handed thrower Taylor C., who pitched in 25 games out of the Texas State bullpen this past season. Started off his summer in the Texas Collegiate League playing at Brazos Valley, but for him to make his first appearance for the Kettleers today should be exciting. But let's take a look at some keys to today's game. Kettleers trying to pick up the #1 spot in the West Division. What's going to be a key in doing that?
I think the biggest key for me in this game is late game pitching, and this is something that we've seen from the Kettleers really struggle over the last few games, and we've talked about it a lot on the past few broadcasts, just the revolving door of bullpen arms that have come through Lowell Park. 6 pitchers added, 6 pitchers left the roster, so we've seen a lot of different arms over the last few games, but we've also seen this bullpen struggle a bit and have to see the offense come back, and luckily for Cotuit, they've done that. But if the bullpen can come in, throw strikes, and get much needed outs, they'd have a good time picking up win number 18. And that would propel them into the top spot.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely looking for that 18th win, and the Kettleers committing plenty of errors in the first 3 games against these Wareham Gatemen. The 2 teams have combined for 11 total errors in this season series so far, so errors have definitely been an impact in the first 3 games in this series, so cutting down on those is definitely going to be major in completing the 18th win of this summer. So that's going to do it for us here on the Kettleers starting 9. Game 28 is coming up against the Gatemen and the Kettleers after this on the Kettleers Digital Network.
A beautiful day for baseball here at Lowell Park, as it's the 4th meeting between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers. Hello and welcome here on the Kettleers Digital Network. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by my broadcast partner Joe Pratt. And Joe, it is a battle for the top spot in the West Division. Both Wareham and Cotuit come into today with a 17-9-1 record, and it should be another good one.
Yeah, it absolutely should be. These two teams playing great matchups the last 3 times that they played one another. Most recently, Cotuit with a comeback victory. That was 11 days ago, where they won at 7-6 at Spillane Field. And something that the Wareham Gatemen have done incredibly well this season is play away from their home ballpark. They're 9-3 away from Spillane Field, have lost 4 games in a row at home, so they definitely are going to want to get back out on the road, get into the groove of things after being one of just 2 teams in the CCBL to have yesterday off, and so they should be fresh and ready to go for Game 4 of this season series between now the top 2 teams in this West Division.
You mentioned yesterday, and of course Wareham being off, Cotuit playing in the makeup game from Saturday, July 13th against Chatham. This is a game where Cotuit, and a similar story for the last few games we've seen from the Kettleers, they trail early, come back, tie the game at 3, and then give up 2 runs in that top of the 5th, but answer right back with 5 unanswered runs and come away with the 8-5 victory in 8 innings.
Yeah, it's been incredible to see the resilience of this Kettleers roster, especially in late innings in these past couple games. Of course, they had the win against Orleans 2 nights ago with the 2-run home run, or excuse me, that was a 2-run home run off the bat of Tanner Thatch in the 8th inning to win that ball game. And then they relied on a different guy to come through in that in the 8th inning last night. Of course, that game being called after 8 frames, but it was a 2 RBI double off the bat of Devin Taylor. And one thing that the Kettleers did well late in that ball game last night, get runners on base, particularly early on in innings. The leadoff man, the second guy up in the inning, able to get on base, able to bat them over, whether or not you ground into a fielder's choice or make an out in some way. Just to continue to get guys on base, continue to get guys in scoring position is something that this team has done really well. And hitting with runners in scoring position maybe isn't to the point to where Mike Roberts might want it, but it's good enough, and they've been able to win a couple of ball games on some late inning heroics, and hopefully today they won't need that off the back of some good pitching and good bullpen pitching. But these are 2 teams that can make you pay when you make mistakes, so expect a solid ball game throughout.
You mentioned the late game heroics for Cotuit, and we saw these heroics from the Kettleers in the last game between Cotuit and Wareham. The Kettleers trailing in that game 5-4. They scored 3 runs in that top of the 8th, but Wareham made it interesting, scored 1 in that bottom of the 9th, but the Kettleers and Gabe Nord hung on to pick up the 7-6 victory in that game.
Yeah, and I mean, looking back at the first 3 games of this season series, each of these teams in the last inning, whether it was Wareham in front, Cotuit in front, the other team was able to put the tying and or the go-ahead run on base in the final inning of that ball game. So it came down to the wire in each of the first 3 games, especially in the one you were just mentioning, the 7-6 win at Spillane Field last time. Cotuit making a crucial error late in that game. Wareham brought the tying run to third base, but at the end of the ball game, the bullpen for Cotuit really slammed the door, but it was all off the backs of some timely hitting, and that's exactly what the Kettleers will be looking for today on this Red Shirt Friday.
And the 3 games between these 2 teams have been decided by 5 total runs. Of course, the first game a 4-2 Wareham win, the second game a 4-2 Cotuit victory, then the 7-6 win that we just talked about. But these 2 teams at the top of the West Division standing should be another excellent matchup here, as getting the ball in his Kettleer debut is the starter Taylor C.
Yeah, Taylor C. making his first appearance for the Kettleers, one of the few new arms that you see added to this roster in the past week or so, as you brought up on the pregame show. But he's a guy who started off this summer in the Texas Collegiate League playing for the Brazos Valley Bombers, and 20 strikeouts and over 14 innings there for the Bombers this past summer with an ERA just over 2. So he's able to find his way onto this Cotuit roster, and our first looks at Taylor C. this season, who is coming off of a year at Texas State, his second collegiate season, and he gets his first start for the Kets, so should be a good one, as it's the now 4th straight game in a row where the Kettleers have thrown a brand new arm out on the mound, not in terms of starting, but just in terms of getting an appearance. So C is the 4th, and we'll have our first looks against him today.
Taylor C. this past year at Texas State had a 2-0 record, a 6.05 ERA, went 19 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 24 hits, 13 earned runs, but walks really were a big part that jumped out to, or big part of Taylor C's season. 16 walks in those 19 1/3 innings pitched, struck out 17. and limiting weak contact. That's something that he struggled with a bit in those 25 appearances. Gave up a multitude of extra base hits. 8 of the 24 hits he gave up went for extra base hits. But Taylor C. making his Kettleer debut against the Wareham Gatemen. And Joe, how does Wareham line up?
Well, they'll start off at the top of the order with Johan Deserol. He's playing at second base, and followed by Antonio Jimenez, who's also on the middle infield playing at shortstop. Jimenez batting second today. Tristan Murph Gray plays the hot corner at third and bats third. Reese Chapman in straightaway center bats cleanup for Ryan Smythe's Gateman. Eli Putnam, the first baseman, bats fifth. Sam White, the left fielder, is batting sixth today. Got the start behind the dish the last time against the Cats, now in the outfield. Nate Early is the DH batting seventh. Jacob Jarrell is behind the dish. He bats eighth. And Colby Turner plays in right field. He will be the ninth man to face Taylor C. today.
We've seen a lot of familiar faces in this Wareham lineup, a team that really hasn't gone through a lot of roster turnover for the second-year manager, Ryan Smythe, who's really done a good job with Wareham. This is a team that struggled over the last few years, but they've definitely put it together here in 2024.
Yeah, they haven't been able to make the playoffs since 2021, and it's been 2 years since Ryan Smythe took over. The first year going through some growing pains in that initial season, but he seems like he has all of these guys bought in. They want to play for him, and you can really tell in terms of the effort that his guys put in on the field, and of course it's working out as they're first in the West.
C is ready. Desero is ready. The first pitch waved on and missed from Lowell Park. And that's how we begin. First pitch was tossed at 4:58 local time, and another gorgeous day here in the village. 79 degrees and sunny. As the 0-1 pitch, that's lined into right field. That'll dunk down in front of Easton Winfield, and Johan Desero gets the game started with a leadoff single.
Oh, a great piece of hitting there from Desero, who in his first game against the Kettleers went 0 for 2, but last time out in that 7-6 loss for Wareham, he went 3 for 5, was a catalyst at the bottom of their lineup, it was back then. An RBI, a run scored, and an extra base hit. He continues his strong play against the Kettleers to start off this ball game.
Desero actually was the tying run in that game, was stranded on third, as Nard came away with his first save. As a pickoff move, Desero dives back in safely. 4 stolen bases through 17 games for Johan Desero. As now this is the shortstop, Antonio Jimenez is set to dig in. The first pitch to the shortstop waved on and missed for strike one. Taking a look at how the Kettleers line up defensively, in left field is Brandon Compton. Starting in center field is Charles Davlon. In right field, the aforementioned Easton Winfield. From third to first in the infield, Nolan Naraki, Timo Becerra, Jaron Advincula, and Tanner Thatch. And getting the nod behind the dish is Matt Klein. Grant Jay starting back-to-back games, but he gets a day off as Klein draws back into the lineup. Was used as a pinch hitter as the 0-1 to Jimenez fouled down the first base line. So C gets ahead of the shortstop Jimenez. The count is 0-2. Jimenez so far this summer, this being his 27th game played, hitting .224, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs. Have really seen the extra base hit power come alive for the shortstop, who is transferring to UCF as he fouls another one hard right off the Wareham bench down that first base line. Ten of his 19 base hits this year have gone for extra bases. Slugging at a .471 clip. As Desero leads off first, C comes set, deals the 0-2 pitch. This one chopped slowly to Becerra at short. He goes to second for one in time. As his throw just nabs Johan Desero as Antonio Jimenez reaches. But one is gone here in this top of the first.
Yeah, kind of a dangerous throw there from Becerra, especially with no outs in this inning, but you always want to try to get the leadoff runner in any way that you can, and nice to see that that chemistry between Becerra and Advincula continues to build in the heart of this middle infield. But a nice job there to get the first out of the inning, still with a runner on first.
Now that brings up the third baseman, Tristan Gray. Before the first pitch to him, another pickoff move. Jimenez dives back in safely. Jimenez's swipe 3 bag so far this season has been thrown out 4 times. As the first pitch to Gray looked at for a call at strike one. Gray has been on a tear so far this summer with Wareham. Today being his 25th game, 4 home runs, 20 RBIs, 7 doubles. Blasted a couple the last time these two teams squared off. As the 0-1 pitch from C, this one hit on the ground toward the third baseman Naraki, but that goes foul. And Joe, Taylor C really doing a nice job pounding the strike zone early on.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want from a guy who is making his first start for the Kettleers this season. Oftentimes we've seen guys make their debuts and struggle through that first inning of work. I mean, Thatcher Hurd is a great example. Jansen Kiesel making his return to this roster. And there are other names and guys who have struggled in their first inning of work. But for him to continue to pound the zone, pitch to some weak contact, that should set up a solid first start of the season for C.
See a pickoff move. Jimenez dives back in. Fans continuing to file in here at Lowell Park. It's a gorgeous day for baseball. The Kettleers rocking their red shirt Friday uniforms as Gray hits this one into left field. That'll get down in front of Brandon Compton. So the second hit of the day for the Gatemen as they now have runners on first and second with 1 out.
5th hit of the summer for Tristan Gray against the Kettleers, and that one he just gets all over it. Was clearly expecting that pitch from C and jumps on it over the left fielder, or excuse me, over Timo Becerra's head into left field. But Tristan Gray continues to swing a hot bat, has been the best hitter in this Wareham lineup so far, and he showed us why just there.
Now it's Reese Chapman who looks at a first pitch at the knees, called for strike one. Chapman coming up in a big spot early on. 2 runners on, just 1 are gone. Here is this one hit on the ground to Advincula at second, bobbles it. Goes to first. His throw is in time for the second out, so Advincula was trying to turn 2, recollects, and picks up the out as Reese Chapman goes down. But advancing to second and third are Antonio Jimenez and Tristan Gray.
I mean, that was a bullet off the bat of Reese Chapman. Nice job by Advincula just to knock that ball down and keep it in front. He really does try to continue the flip to second base, but he just couldn't get a solid grip on that baseball, so he just had to throw from a knee and still able to get the second out of this inning. So the perfect infield play by Jaron Advincula statistically this season is upheld with that out being made at first.
So now it's Eli Putnam digging in. Putnam getting the nod at first base today as the 0-1 from C, taken low and outside for ball 1. It's the first ball Taylor C has thrown so far this game. Started out 12 pitches, 12 strikes. The righty steps back onto the rubber. Glove set right at his chest, now kicks and deals the 1-1 breaking ball. Well out on and missed is Eli Putnam. Putnam hitting .264 this summer with Wareham. As Taylor C looking to get out of a jam here in this top of the first. The 1-2 pitch. Fouled hard down the first base line. That gets out of play. Fans filling up the home grandstand down the third base side. Still a lot of open area on the first base grandstand. A lot of fans in their lawn chairs down the third base line. As the 1-2 pitch to Putnam taken outside. C thought that was strike 3, walked off the mound momentarily, but was called a ball, so the count evens up at 2-2. Putnam this year, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. As the 2-2 pitch to him just goes off the bat into the netting, over the fence, right on the first base side, so he stays alive. Putnam not making this at-bat easy for C. Has seen 6 pitches so far. Putnam's coming off of his junior season at Davidson where he exploded, hit .352, 16 home runs, 58 RBIs. As the 2-2 pitch to him hit down the first base line. Going back on it is Tanner Thatch, who makes the grab for the third and final out of the inning, as Taylor C. in his first inning as a Kettleer works in and out of trouble and strands runners on second and third as we head to the bottom half of the first, with Cotuit and Wareham even at 0 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Cotuit coming to bat after Taylor C. worked in and out of trouble, allowed 2 hits in that top of the first, but stranded runners on second and third as the Kettleers are coming up to bat against Heath Andrews. And Joe, why don't you run us through how Cotuit lines up?
Yeah, they'll go with their same leadoff hitter that they've had in the past 2 games. It'll be Tanner Thatch, who's riding now an 8-game hitting streak. So he will lead off for the Kets, followed by Easton Winfield. Brandon Compton bats third. Devin Taylor in the cleanup spot. Matt Klein bats fifth. Charles Davalon getting his first start since Monday bats sixth. Timo Becerra bats seventh. Jaron Advincula in the 8th spot, and Nolan Naraki reinserts himself into this lineup and bats ninth.
So Thatch set to dig in against Heath Andrews, who gets the nod for Ryan Smythe. Swinging away at the first pitch is Thatch. Fouls that hard back into the parking lot, straight back. Goes right in between a couple of cars.
Look out. And look out for that pitch, too.
Andrews just loses a grip on that pitch, goes straight back to the backstop. This is the 5th appearance for Heath Andrews so far this season, 3rd start. Has a 2-0 record, a 1.64 ERA. Has tossed 11 innings, allowed 6 hits, just 2 earned runs. As the 1-1 pitch to Thatch, dribbled back to Andrews on the mound, gets off the mound, fields cleanly his throw in time to nab Thatch, so Heath Andrews fielding his position well, as Tanner Thatch is retired for the first out.
Yeah, good start for Andrews, who's been impressive in his first 4 appearances so far this season, has a 1.64 ERA, has made 2 starts. The only blemish on that record, a couple of home runs allowed. That is a big reason as to why he has allowed 2 earned runs.
Now it's Easton Winfield who digs in. The first pitch taken for ball 1. As the 1-0 pitch to Winfield once again laid off for ball 2, 93 on the gun from Heath Andrews. Winfield playing in his 5th game this summer as a Kettleer. Coming into today 5 for 15, that's good for a .333 average. As he swings away at the 2-0 pitch, fouls that slowly straight back. We'll take a look at how Wareham aligns defensively. Sam White gets the start in left field, Reese Chapman in center, Colby Turner in right. From third to first on the infield, Tristan Gray, Antonio Jimenez, Johan Desero, Eli Putnam, and Jacob Gerald gets the start behind the dish. And, of course, Heath Andrews, who just evened this count at 2-2, is starting. The 2-2 on the way to Winfield, staying alive as he fouls this one right down the third base line toward Brandon Compton in the on-deck circle. Mike Roberts going with 6 consecutive lefties to begin the game, as Winfield swings at this pitch, hits this one into left field. Going back on the run is Sam White. He will look up. That ball gets down. Winfield takes the turn, and he motors into second with a stand-up one-out double as Easton Winfield picks up his third double of the season.
Easton Winfield just jumps all over that pitch from Andrews, taking it to the opposite field, and it's much similarly to what we saw him do last night against the Anglers, where he stepped up to the plate in that 8th inning. The Kettleers in desperate need of a base runner, and he notched a double into the left center field alleyway. That one that we just saw there, a little bit deeper than the double last night, but what a great way for him to start off his day. After starting off his day 0 for 3 at the plate yesterday, continues with back-to-back doubles into this one.
We've seen Winfield hit the ball to all fields, and especially deep into the outfield. Not a guy who's afraid to go the other way. Does that there and picks up his third double as Brandon Compton digs in. Count is 0-1 on the Cotuit left fielder, who's been on a tear as of late, has his batting average all the way up to .309. Lays off on the 0-1 pitch beneath the knees.
Well, we've talked about that. Brandon Compton, Nathan Hall, Nolan Araki, kind of 1, 2, maybe 3 punch in the middle of the Kettleers lineup, but how about this today with Easton Winfield swinging a hot bat, now Brandon Compton, and also Devin Taylor there too.
A lot of hot hitters at the top of Mike Roberts' lineup as the 1-1 pitch waved on and missed by Compton. Compton now tied for the team lead in RBIs with Tanner Thatch, both sitting at 19. Comes up in a big spot here with Easton Winfield standing on second. Andrews looks back at him, now kicks and deals the 1-2 pitch. Compton golfs this one into right field. Capping underneath it is Turner. Tagging from second is Winfield. Turner's throw well up the line, so advancing 90 feet is Easton Winfield. So it's another productive at-bat for Brandon Compton. And now 2 are gone in the inning, and that brings up the designated hitter, Devin Taylor.
Yeah, quality AB there from Compton, and it seems like whenever he's been up there at the plate, when he's not been able to reach base, he has still been able to work a quality AB, and that one to right field easily allows Winfield to advance 90 feet into scoring position. And Devin Taylor, they'll have to rely on what he did just a night ago in the 8th inning, some 2-out hitting.
Devin Taylor, another hot hitter in this lineup, had the go-ahead hit yesterday for Cotuit. Lays off on the first pitch. The count is 1-0. Taylor last night 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Of course, had that huge 2 RBI double that gave Cotuit the lead as the 1-0 pitch fouled off. Right near the snack shack.
I mean, one thing that's super promising if you're a Cotuit fan is just seeing that with all these comebacks, it's been different guys in the lineup who have really triggered them and have been able to complete them. Of course, it was Devin Taylor last night, but we talked about Matt Klein being able to be that guy in key situations, Brandon Compton as well, and it's just great to see so many different guys being able to be the hero on different nights for this team.
Klein was the hero the last time around when these two teams squared off as the 1-2 pitch spoiled once again. Another hard bullet off the bat of Devin Taylor. Klein hitting his first home run and had that game-tying sacrifice fly against the Gatemen. Devin Taylor 3 for 9 so far this season against Wareham. The 1-2 pitch, 94 miles an hour, just taken outside, and that's a tough pitch to lay off if you're Devin Taylor.
Yeah, it is. I mean, a pitch that's breaking slightly away from you because the arm side run on that fastball for Heath Andrews, but it looks like a strike for most of the way.
The 2-2 on the way to Taylor. Fouled that one off of his front foot.
Yeah, and that's one that's definitely going to sting, but you just can't lay off that pitch. I mean, it's a breaking ball that's coming right through the heart of the zone, likely going to finish maybe beneath the zone, beneath the knees of Taylor. Who knows if it would be a called strike, but just too close to not take a swing at that.
Andrews kicks and deals the 2-2 pitch, tries to climb the ladder. Taylor lays off. So he works the count full here in the bottom of the first. Easton Winfield stands on third after he doubled. Moved up 90 feet on the flyout by Brandon Compton. Andrews kicks and deals the payoff pitch. Taylor cracks this one into short right field. Coming on is Turner, who gloves it for the third and final out as Heath Andrews allows the one-out double to Easton Winfield but strands him on third as we head to the top of the second. Cotuit and Wareham even after one here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Bortolotti Construction is your go-to provider for all excavation, drainage, and waterworks services. On top of that, they offer landscape filling materials such as sand, native stone, gravel, shells, and more. Serving Cape Cod and the islands for 30 years, Bortolotti Construction is committed to serving its community. Visit at 45 Industry Road in Marston's Mills or call 508-771-9399.
Coastal Rentals is the place to go for professional landscape and construction equipment. Whether you need tools and equipment for commercial use or for your own projects, Coastal Rentals has what you need. Purchasing gear is also available. Check out Coastal Rentals today.
Cotuit Library. Since its founding in 1874, the Cotuit Library has served its community with an expansive collection that continues to grow. Their staff is dedicated to serving all ages, offering youth events weekly. The library has dozens of events scheduled throughout the summer, so be sure to head to the website at cotuitlibrary.org to see what's coming up next. The library is located right off Main Street. The Cotuit Library, a proud sponsor of the Kettleers.
Both pitchers working in and out of trouble after that first inning as fans really came out to see this top matchup between the two best teams in the West Division. Wareham and Cotuit enter today with a 17-9-1 record. These teams also prone to hitting the ball. Cotuit coming into today with leading the league with a 267 average. Wareham right behind them on their tails hitting 264.
Yeah, these are two teams that are very evenly matched in terms of statistics, and I mean it's a Wareham team with a 4.31 ERA in terms of pitching and a 4.53 ERA for the Kettleers, so also neck and neck there in the pitching categories. But this is a Wareham team who, as mentioned before, really wants to play away from their own ballpark. They've dropped 4 games in a row at Spillane Field, and coming off of the off day yesterday, it was much needed because they played a difficult schedule with a Tuesday night game against the Yarmouth Dennis, or excuse me, it was a Wednesday night game against the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, the best team in the CCBL, and now a team that's tied for first in the West Division with them. So these are 2 very difficult games that the Gatemen are having to play here in the heart of this late week in July. But for them to continue to swing hot bats and to get the bats re-energized is something that Ryan Smythe is definitely looking for in this game.
YD is 17-8-2 record. And all 3 of these teams, YD, Wareham, and Cotuit, really playing their best baseball as the month of July continues to roll on. As now here is Sam White, lays off the first pitch for a ball. See the next offering, dribbled slowly behind home plate. Sam White got the nod behind the dish the last time these two played, also was the leadoff hitter for the Gatemen in that game, but today hit 6th.
Yeah, that was a tough game for Sam White in the leadoff spot. Started off the day 0 for 5.
White hits the 1-1 pitch into left center field. Tracking it and making the long run is Charles Davalon, who makes the play. What a grab by Charles Davalon in center field. Going full speed into the left center field gap and robbing Sam White of what would have been extra bases.
Just a great play by Charles Davalon, who has to go nearly to the fence back there to rob Sam White of extra bases. But for White, it was more of that the last time these two teams played. He was able to put the ball in play. It was just solid defense done by the Cotuit infielders and outfielders, as we just saw there from Davalon. But after starting that game 0 for 5 and his 6th plate appearance of the game, was finally able to knock a base hit and represented one of the go-ahead runs for the Gatemen late in that ball game.
Now it's Nate Early, who looks at 2 pitches. 4-2 balls from Taylor C. Early, this is his 19th game played this summer, hitting .296. As C kicks and deals, breaking ball looked at for strike 1. Early shakes his head. Charles Davalon, a guy who's been in and out of the lineup, but when he's played, he's been ultra productive. He's come up with a lot of clutch base hits for Cotuit and showing off of his speed and his defensive ability in center field there, as the 2-1 fastball laid off for ball 3. seen a lot of different outfielders rotate in. Max Ballou, Nathan Hall, Charles Davalon. Brandon Compton's been the lone mainstay in left field as Nate Early hits this one into the other alley here as Davalon camps underneath it, makes the grab. This time much easier and doesn't have to run as far, but the result still remains the same. It's a fly out to center field, and Taylor C. has gotten 2 quick outs here in the top of the second.
Yeah, talk about a guy who's swinging a hot bat, Nate Early, already with 3 hits against the Kettleers this season, and the Gatemen putting up just 5 total hits against YD in their last game played. 3 of them were off the bat of Nate Early.
Now it's Jacob Gerald. Didn't play the last time these two teams squared off. Looks at the first pitch breaking ball for strike 1. The Wareham dugout disagreed with the call. See, the righty kicks and deals the 0-1. Once again outside. This time Gerald lays off. The count evened up at 1-1. Taylor C. continuing to throw strikes here, up to 28 pitches, 21 strikes. His 29th offering taken for a ball low and inside. Gerald, the rising sophomore from Florence, South Carolina, attends Clemson. The 2-1 offering to him goes behind the catcher, Matt Klein. So Gerald up in the count 3-1. Of course, must feel good for Gerald being from South Carolina, playing at Clemson. Guy who's been productive at his time with the Tigers. Played in 28 games this past year, hit .298 and 97 at-bats. As the 3-1 pitch hit high up in the air into left field, Brandon Compton backtracking now, circles underneath it and makes the grab for the 3rd and final out of this top of the second. So Taylor C. works a 1-2-3 top of the second with 3 fly balls as we head to the bottom half of the inning. With Wareham and Cotuit still tied up at 0 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Cape Cod Coffee is a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers. They offer breakfast and lunch, as well as indoor and outdoor dining. Check out Cape Cod Coffee at one of their 3 locations, on Route 130, at Mashpee Commons, and at Wareham Commons, or on their website at capecodcoffee.com. When the unexpected happens, make sure you and your assets are insured appropriately. The agents at Leonard Insurance Agency can tailor coverage to meet your needs. Call 508-428-6921 to talk to their licensed agents today. For nearly 2 decades, Coastal Irrigation has proudly provided top-notch irrigation and landscape lighting services across Cape Cod. Starting with just a handful of customers in Cotuit, they now serve nearly all of the Cape. Upgrade your lawn care with their modern irrigation systems. No more dragging around hoses or worrying about watering while you're away. Their systems ensure your grass stays healthy and green effortlessly. Transform your home with Coastal Irrigation's landscape lighting services. Enhance your outdoor gatherings, improve safety, and boost curb appeal with their affordable, low-voltage lighting solutions. Illuminate your walkways and highlight architectural details to make your home shine. Contact Coastal Irrigation at 508-428-1529 or info@coastalirrigation.net.
Welcome back to Lowell Park on a beautiful Friday afternoon for baseball as Mike Roberts donning the Red Shirt Friday jerseys as Heath Andrews returns to the mound after working in and out of trouble in that bottom of the first. Easton Winfield placed a 1-out double, but he was stranded on third after back-to-back flyouts to Colby Turner in right field. As now it's the 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the Kettleers. Matt Klein, Charles Davalon, and Timo Becerra set to take their first hacks against Wareham's righty. Matt Klein came into yesterday's game, was used as a pinch hitter for Grant J. He bounced out to first base. But before that, got the game before off against Orleans. So Klein making his first start in the last 3 games as Andrews missed with the first pitch. Comes back That's called a strike at the knee. So the count evened up at 1-1 to the Kettleers catcher, who's been on a tear as of late, hitting .341 this summer through 17 games. Hits this one right back up the middle, deflects off of Andrews, goes to the shortstop Jimenez. There's no throw as Klein beats it out, so Cotuit gets their leadoff man on here in the bottom of the second.
That's just a great piece of hitting from Matt Klein, and a big reason as to why he is riding now a 7-game hitting streak and is now 9 of his last 22 plate appearances and just continues to swing a hot bat. And so impressive for a guy who's not in the starting lineup each and every day but is still able to stay focused and make a difference offensively as he gets his first hit of today's ball game.
Now it's the center fielder Charles Davalon. Saw him make a couple of plays in the top half of the inning, but Davalon hits this one into center field, going a long way is Reese Chapman, goes into a dive. He can't make the play. Backing him up was Colby Turner. So Charles Davalon into second with the Kettleers' second double of the day, and moving up to third is Matt Klein. So just like that, 2 batters in to this bottom of the second, and the Kettleers are threatening.
Charles Davalon making a difference in this lineup in each of his first 12 games played for the Kettleers this summer, and also a guy who's not in the starting lineup each and every day, but his last game against YD went 2 for 4, a pair of RBIs, has also reached base in 4 straight games, make it 5 now with that double. But just a great piece of hitting from Davalon, who has some sneaky pop in that bat.
Swing away at the first pitch is Timo Becerra, fouls that straight back. It's now the third double of the season for Charles Davalon. We talked about hot hitting performances. Timo Becerra was 3 for 3 yesterday, scored twice. Comes up in a massive spot here, but lays off on the 0-1 pitch. It's called a strike 2 on the outside corner. Two runners in scoring position. Andrews kicks and deals the 0-2 pitch to Becerra. This one taps slowly to Gray at third. Fields cleanly. His throw in time to nab Becerra at first, and an ultra important first out of the inning for Heath Andrews as the runners stay put on second and third.
Yeah, we talked about how hot of a bat Timo Becerra was swinging, of course going 3 for 3 last night against Chatham, but that's exactly what Wareham needed, and Heath Andrews. A slow swinging bunt down the third base line, well played by Murph Gray, and both runners have to stay where they're put.
Now it's Jaron Advincula coming off of an 0 for 3 performance last night. The first pitch to him, slapped the other way, and that'll get down to the left field. Klein comes in to score. Davalon gets the wave. He will head in safely. The throw to second is in time. They got him. Sam White nabs Jaron Advincula, trying to stretch it into extra bases. But Jaron Advincula still records a 2 RBI single and gives the Kettleers a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, he'll get a massive round of applause from the Cotuit faithful on the home side, but another difficult day at the plate last night for Jaron Advincula, who's kind of been a game on, game off in these past, say, 8 contests. Back down to a .395 clip after going 0 for 3 last night, but already making an impact in today's game with that 2 RBI double, and the Kettleers take a 2-0 lead.
So Jaron Advincula clears the bases, as here is Nolan Naraki, who is batting ninth in this Kettleer lineup. Count is 0-1 on the Cotuit third baseman. Andrews kicks and deals to him. Lays off on the 1-0, taken outside for a ball 2. Naraki broke out the last time these two teams played in Wareham. Had a pair of base hits, also with 2 RBIs. Now finds himself up in the count 3-0 here as Andrews has struggled to find the strike zone. Cotuit up to 4 hits so far through an inning and 2/3 as the 3-0 pitch. Breaking ball looked at for strike 1. This is something that we haven't really seen over the last 2 games. Cotuit's bats coming out and starting off the game strong.
Yeah, really haven't, but they have been able to rely on some late inning offense as Naraki will take ball 4 here and continue this bottom of the second inning. But yeah, just to be able to work counts and get some timely hitting is something that this Cotuit offense has been lacking in the first couple innings of ball games. I mean, going into the game against Orleans 2 days ago, they had the fewest amount of runs scored in the first inning of any team except for the Firebirds, so 9th in the league, but it's great to see them score a pair of runs early on in this ball game, but we'll obviously have to rely on some solid pitching and defense throughout.
So now we head back to the top of the Cotuit order before the first pitch to Tanner Thatch. A pickoff move. Naraki gets back in standing. Tanner Thatch today 0 for 1. Bounced out to Heath Andrews in his first at-bat. Lays off the first pitch, 93 miles an hour on the fastball. Another pickoff move. Naraki with a headfirst dive. He's in safely. Tanner Thatch really been the vocal and leader at the dish for Cotuit's come up with a multitude of big hits as he hits this one down the first base line. Willie T trying to go for the bare hand, just goes off of his hand as he flips that ball into the crowd. We have to give Willie T a pass there. He's still holding the gear from Nolan Naraki. Tried to make the bare hand snag with his right hand. Another pickoff move as Andrews keeping a close eye on Naraki. 3 pickoff moves so far in this at-bat. Naraki gets back in standing. Andrews, the righty, glove set at the belt, kicks and deals the 1-1 to Thatch, taken high and in tight for ball 2. Andrews struggled this past year at NC State, had an 0-1 record, 11.57 ERA in 10 appearances. Did make a start with the Wolfpack as this one gets away from Gerald. As he fumbled with that ball, staying put on first base is Naraki.
Yeah, clearly not wanting to throw anything inside, low and inside to Tanner Thatch, who has 8 home runs, all of which are to the pull side so far this season, and all of them coming against right-handed pitching, for which Thatch has hit .383 against these righties.
Thatch, a towering pop-up on the infield. Antonio Jimenez, the shortstop, grabs it for the third and final out of the inning, but not before Cotuit, their offense, comes alive here in this bottom of the second. Jaron Advincula laces a 2 RBI single as he was cut down trying to stretch it for extra bases, but the Kettleers lead 2-0 after 2 innings of play, and before we head to a commercial break, we'll now send it down to our own Adele Huffman. Adele, what do you have for us?
Joe and Alex, I'm joined alongside Jim Matthews representing Big Nick's Ride. Mr. Matthews, can you explain to us a little bit about what this organization does?
Well, Big Nick's Ride collects money through any various number of activities, the primary activity being Big Nick's Ride. And that's coming up this Sunday, and we're going to have well over 1,000 motorcycles riding across Cape Cod. And what we'll be doing is honoring Big Nick, as well as the other fallen 16 from the Cape, and honoring not only them, but also veterans and their families.
And what does it mean to be part of something so special like this?
I can't put that in words. I'm a wash ashore from New York City, and I've been here about 8 years. Being part of Big Nick's Ride was probably one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life. Again, honoring those special heroes that have sacrificed their lives for our freedom.
And this next upcoming ride is going to be live streamed. Where can we find that?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be live streamed, and you can get information about that at bignicksride.org. It's going to be live streamed at Big Nick's Ride Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. And you're going to get a chance to get a rider's eye view of what it's like riding in Big Nick's Ride and seeing the hundreds of people that line the streets of 6A and all the towns and villages around Cape Cod.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jim, and we'll send it back up to the booth with Joe and Alex.
Thanks so much, Adele. Great work as always. And Joe, such a cool moment pregame and just a really cool atmosphere to be in.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Big Nick's Ride getting honored at Lowell Park for the 3rd straight season. Or it could have been longer than that, but of course another year honoring Big Nick's Ride. And you just heard him talking about it, honoring the fallen who have represented our country in law enforcement, in the military, and of course it's fitting that they celebrate Big Nick's Ride on Red Shirt Friday. It's also Gold Star Family Night at Lowell Park and a lot of pregame festivities, as there were plenty of motorcycles, other bikes of that nature driving around center field and around Lowell Park pregame for a bunch of fans to take a look at, and of course celebrating Nick's birthday on February 12th by completing that 1,000 motorcycle bike ride. Jeeps escorting them across a 35-mile ride starting in Barnstable, headed all the way to Sandwich and in Yarmouth. So pretty cool to honor them before game 28 today.
Definitely a cool moment as the count is now 1-2 on the leadoff hitter Colby Turner, who bats ninth in the Gatemen lineup. Taylor C. back out to the mound for his third inning of work. Worked the 1-2-3 top of the second. As he kicks and deals the 1-2 to Turner, this one laced on the ground to Naraki. He gloves it cleanly. His throw over to first base in plenty of time. So Taylor C. has really found a groove as he's retired the last 6 hitters he's faced.
Yeah, just finishing up his first rotation through the lineup. He'll face Johan Desero for the second time. He was able to jump on a pitch from C his first time up and lace it into right field for a base knock. So the 2 hits on the board for the Gatemen so far against the top 3 in this lineup.
Wareham had runners on second and third, and C managed to get out of it as Desero hits a high pop-up into right field. Running in is Easton Winfield, who makes the grab for the second out as Taylor C. working a weak contact here and gets 2 gone so far in this top of the third.
Is able to locate his pitches incredibly well, and we saw it right there, jamming Johan Desero, just pops it up into right field, gets way underneath it. And that's a great adjustment from Taylor C., who lost him the first time up, floating a pitch out over the heart of the plate, not wanting to do that again against Desero. So he just dots the inside corner it was to the lefty and picks up that second out.
Now it's Antonio Jimenez digging in for his second at-bat. He's 0 for 1 today. Bouncing to a fielder's choice, but was stranded at third. 1-0 is the count against the Wareham shortstop as Jimenez loses the bat. That goes into the crowd down the third base line. Hopefully everyone's okay as Jimenez just loses a handle of that bat, goes flying over the net and into the grandstand on the home side.
And someone came down with the bat. Looks like everybody is okay. Mike Roberts immediately jumped out of the Kettleers dugout to make sure everyone was okay. Looks like he might be heading outside towards the grandstand right now. Somebody needs to return that bat to the batter. It's a bat that belongs to Antonio Jimenez, who's just waiting by the on-deck circle. Oh, there you go. Paul Manicus hands it back to him. But hopefully everybody is okay as it went in on the left side of that grandstand, maybe about 4 rows up. A couple times in the past few games we've seen batters completely let go of their bats, but haven't seen one actually leave the field. That one clearing the fence, clearing the netting, the dugout, and getting into the grandstand. Just shows you the power behind Antonio Jimenez's swing, who's now dealing with a 1-1 count.
Jimenez, after losing the bat, put some pine tar on his bat, so the count is 1-1. Jimenez took a massive cut out of that. Now here's the 1-1 pitch, taken low and outside for ball 2. We really haven't seen a bat travel that far so far this year. Wonder how far it would have went if Jimenez straightens it out, goes into the field to play.
We need the track man on that.
2-1 pitch called a strike on the inside corner. Much to the dismay of the Wareham dugout, but a really nice pitch from Taylor C. there as it clips the inside corner as the count is now even at 2-2 with 2 outs here in this top of the third. Cotuit leads Wareham 2-0. C kicks and deals the 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Antonio Jimenez goes down on strikes as Taylor C. has been dominant so far through 3 innings as he picks up his first strikeout of the day as he's now completed 3 full innings of play as we now head to the bottom of the third here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers, salads, sandwiches, and a smoothie bar. Jake's Clam Bakes, making Cape Cod gatherings unforgettable.
With 30-plus years of personal injury litigation and insurance negotiation experience, Snow Law Firm is your go-to for wrongful injuries and rightful compensation. Snow Law Firm will secure the maximum amount of compensation available through settlement or trial. Schedule a free case evaluation by calling 508-477-7100.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's time for another edition of Catch Trivia. This Vanderbilt outfielder was taken in the first round of the 2023 MLB Draft, going to the Orioles after playing the second half of the 2022 summer in Cotuit. So if you know the answer, drop the answer in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Trivia, of course, presented by the Cotuit Library is another good trivia here today as Easton Winfield digging in for his second at-bat. Winfield 1 for 1 today, laced his third double of the summer, back in the bottom of the first. As the count evened up at 1-1, and Joe, during the half inning, Mike Roberts going into the crowd and giving the fan who grabbed the Antonio Jimenez bat a new baseball bat, so always good to see the fan getting rewarded.
Oh, yeah, that's just such a nice gesture from Coach Mike Roberts, who ran from the dugout to his office behind the snack shack just a few minutes ago and then ran back to deliver a brand new baseball bat, hopefully one that could be signed. We'll have to take a look at it and maybe try to talk to that young fan, but he had to have knocked that bat down or something as it was headed towards the home grandstand, because it's really hard to believe that everybody came out of that completely fine. So just a really nice gesture to see from head coach Mike Roberts.
Winfield skies a 3-1 pitch back into the parking lot. So the count runs full here with no outs in this bottom of the third. And really good speed from Mike Roberts to go all the way from the Kettleers dugout to his office, grab a bat, and back out at third base as Easton Winfield works a walk here to lead off this bottom of the third, so he reaches for the second time today.
I mean, with the new pitch clock and everything, he's only got about a minute 15 seconds in between innings to go grab the baseball bat, deliver it to the kid in the stands, and then get back and get ready to coach this third inning. Of course, he's standing over there beyond third base. Mike Roberts getting the win last night, and that one completing his 448th win as the Kettleers manager. As a Cape League manager, I should say. Did spend a couple of years with the Wareham Gatemen, but then making the switch to the Kettleers in the early 2000s.
And Roberts definitely must be happy with the way that his team is performing early on in this game as they lead 2-0. They have 4 hits compared to Wareham's no runs on 2 hits. Both teams have yet to commit an error as the 0-1 pitch to Brandon Compton laid off high and outside. Winfield takes his lead off first. Andrews, before delivering the 1-1 pitch, a pickoff move that Winfield back in standing. You saw the smile on Mike Roberts' face last night when Adele Huffman caught up with him and just talking about the relationship of this team. As he said, Cam Schulke called it the tightest knit baseball team and Kettleer team he's played on. Of course, spent 3 seasons here in the Village, so definitely good thing heading down into the stretch as games continue to mean more. Playing on July 19th, just a couple of games left in this Cape League season, and it's really hard to believe as this year has just continued to fly by.
Yeah, I mean, after today, there's going to be just 11 games left on the schedule.
Compton lines that one hard, and that'll get down into center field. Winfield taking the turnaround second. He motors his way into third. So Brandon Compton picks up his first hit of the day, and Cotuit has runners on first and third to begin the bottom of the third.
Yeah, Brandon Compton with a missile over Johan Desero at second base, and one that finds the gap. Easton Winfield, how about the speed from him that we've seen on the path, starting from first, easily making it to third, and just such a massive threat on the base paths when you have a guy who can run like that. And you have to assume with Devin Taylor at the plate now with the runners on the corners, Ryan Smythe potentially wanting to go to his bullpen here. But it looks like this will just be a conversation ahead of the at-bat against Devin Taylor. Of course, this is a big situation for the Gatemen, who are down 2-0, but no outs in this inning. One of the hottest hitters in the Kettleers lineup is stepping up to the plate right now, Devin Taylor. And with 2 runners on base, could see a bunt play here, but we were talking about it in last night's game, Alex, where you might not want to turn on the bunt signal with a guy who can hit the ball as well as Devin Taylor. So we'll see what they elect to do here.
And what are you saying to your young pitcher out on the mound? Heath Andrews, just playing 1 season at NC State, has had a lot of success early on through his first 4 appearances on the Cape, but now has run into a bit of trouble. Gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the second. Now lets the first 2 hitters reach in this third.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Ryan Smythe, you're thinking that runner on third, Easton Winfield, he's likely going to come in and score no matter what in this inning. So all you're trying to do is get some sort of ground ball to the middle infield, and to do that, you got to throw down low in the zone to Taylor, in off of his hands. You're likely not going to strike him out because he doesn't strike out a lot, but you just need to throw strikes and force some weak contact.
Taylor swinging away at the first pitch, waves on and misses on the 92-mile-an-hour heater from Heath Andrews. Taylor today 0 for 1, flew out to right field. To end the bottom of the first, that stranded Easton Winfield on third. As the 0-1 pitch taken beneath the knees, that evens the count up at 1-1. Taylor's had success against Wareham this year, 3 for 9, has scored a run, but has been prone to the strikeout with 4 so far against the Gatemen through 2 games. The 1-1 pitch laid off for ball 2. That was high and outside. So Taylor sits up in the count 2-1. Taylor hitting .314 so far this summer. Came off of a stellar campaign at Indiana as Andrews misses beneath the knees once again. So Taylor in the driver's seat, up 3-1. Taylor 3 home runs, 8 RBIs so far this season as he hits this one deep to right field, but is well out in front as he pulls that into the trees down the right field line.
Devin Taylor with 20 homers this past season at Indiana, already 3 this year, but all of them solo shots.
The 3-2 pitch, got him looking. Taylor thought it was ball 4, nearly ditched the bat, but he gets rung up on strikes and is the first out here in this bottom of the third.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch to call for the home plate umpire, Jeffrey Merzel, who seemingly is favoring the bottom part of that zone. We've seen Wareham erupt from the first base dugout a couple of times at a few pitches that they thought were a bit too low. Devin Taylor, same thing right there. So I guess you got to like the consistency from Merzel, but for Devin Taylor, just a tough opportunity there for him to strike out in.
Klein swings away at the first pitch, pops this one high up. The pitcher, Heath Andrews, makes the grab. The catcher, Jacob Gerald, got underneath it, but Andrews calls him off. So 1 pitch, and Matt Klein is retired for the second out. And really nice pitching by Heath Andrews, getting the punch out of Devin Taylor and the pop-up of Klein.
Well, this is a best-case scenario for Heath Andrews and the Gatemen. We were just talking about how they're mainly not trying to let the runner on first come around and score. It's really difficult to hold a guy on third for 3 outs in an inning, but they've done so in the first 2, and now a timeout called by that Wareham dugout on the first base side. Ryan Smythe pointing out, it looks like he wanted his catcher Jacob Gerald to give some signs to the infield, but this is a situation for Andrews. He's worked himself deep into some trouble, but has an opportunity to escape it unscathed.
Now it's Charles Davalon up for the second time today as Davalon squares around a bunt, gets it right back to Heath Andrews on the mound, who fields cleanly. Throw is in time to nab Davalon for the third and final out as Heath Andrews allows the leadoff walk to Easton Winfield, gives up a single to Brandon Compton, and then strands both runners on the corners after the strikeout of Devin Taylor, the pop-up of Matt Klein, and the bunt and ground out of Charles Davalon. So Andrews works in and out of trouble as we head to the top of the fourth from Lowell Park. Cotuit still leading 2-0 over Wareham here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
The Cape Cod League All-Star Game is just a few weeks away. Cheer on your favorite Kettleers as they square off with some of the best players on the Cape. This year's game will be played in Falmouth on July 27th. The gates open up at 1:30 p.m. ahead of the 6 o'clock first pitch. All-Star Game tickets can be found at www.capecodleague.com/allstargame. Or you can find out more information about the tickets at the Kettleers store.
The Kettleers baseball clinics are well underway in the summer of 2024, offering boys and girls ages 6 through 17 with the opportunity to learn from some of the most experienced coaches and some of the top college baseball players in the country. With no prior baseball experience necessary, the camps teach kids the fundamentals of baseball, as well as good citizenship, sportsmanship, and character. With just a few weeks of camp left, time is running out. So to sign up, head over to info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK. Again, that's info.collegebaseballcamps.com/CK. We hope to see you there. Be a part of historic Lowell Park and support the Cotuit Kettleers by purchasing a paver engraved with your personal message to be placed in the new Walk of Champions. For more information, visit the Cotuit Kettleers website.
2-0 is your score from Lowell Park through 3. Malatraco joined alongside by Joe Pratt and Adele Huffman, taking you through this battle between the two top teams in the West Division. As it's the 3, 4, or 5 hitters set to give things a go, and their second at-bats against Taylor C., who's working into the 4th inning. And C struggled in that first inning, allowed runners to reach second and third, but ever since that moment, Joe, has really been in a groove.
Yeah, he has retired each of the next Wareham batters he faced after facing Tristan Gray for the first time, who hit a single against him. But since Gray, it's been 8 up, 8 down, and he's trying to set him down to start off this top of the 4th.
So Gray 1 for 1 already today. Dribbles this one foul down the third base line. So the count is 0-1. Gray this past year at Fresno State had a monster campaign where he hit .296, blasted 10 home runs, 52 doubles, but also, 52 RBIs. That'd be really impressive if he had 52 doubles. Came close though, did still have 18. So 29 extra base hits for Tristan Gray as he hits this one deep to left field. Giving it a look is Brandon Compton, but he will watch that ball soar out of here as Tristan Gray blasts a mammoth home run. It's his 5th shot of the summer, now up to 21 RBIs as he cuts the Cotuit lead in half as the Kettleers still lead 2-1.
Speaking about extra bases, Tristan Gray getting all of that ball to deep left field, crushing it from Taylor C. Clearly saw something in his first time up against him, was all over a breaking ball that was thrown over the heart of the plate, and then gets the same pitch there, similar location, and doesn't waste it as he puts it into the Kettleers bullpen to saw this lead in half. It's now 2-1.
Just the 3rd hit of the day for Wareham, and Tristan Gray has 2 of them, and now that brings up Reese Chapman. Chapman today 0 for 1. Grounded out to Jaron Advincula at second. The 0-1 pitch to Chapman hits this one into center field, ranging over into the left center field gap is Charles Davalon, who makes the play on the run for the first out.
Another ball given a ride by Reese Chapman to the deep left center field gap at Lowell Park. So more solid contact from these Gatemen, but Taylor C. able to notch the first out of this inning. But in this second rotation around the order, seems like the Gatemen maybe have figured something out about the righty.
Was the 5th flyout recorded by Taylor C. as Eli Putnam swings at the first pitch, dribbles this one right behind home plate. C just 1 strikeout so far through 3 1/3. That was against Antonio Jimenez that ended last inning. As the 0-1 pitch, 91-mile-an-hour fastball, that's looked at for strike 2. Putnam 0 for 1, popped up to Tanner Thatch. That ended the bottom of the first, where C stranded runners on second and third. He now comes home with the 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Eli Putnam down on strikes for the second out as Taylor C records his second strikeout.
Yeah, that's a great response after giving up the home run and then the long fly ball to send Eli Putnam back to 0 for 2 today. So for Taylor C to respond and get that second strikeout as a Kettleer, it seems like it was just that one pitch that got punished by Murph Gray, but other than that has been able to retire the next 2 batters and continuing upon this stretch where he's retired 11 of the last 12.
Now it's the left fielder Sam White digging in. Massive cut at the first pitch, but misses it. White today 0 for 1, flew out to Charles Davalon in center field. Gave that ball a ride as Davalon had to run a long way, nab that ball in the left center field gap. As the 0-1 to White. Fastball taken high and outside for ball 1. And before that last game against the Kettleers where he struggled, was 0 for 5 and then reached base the night before. He was 2 for 2, also blasted a grand slam as he hits this one hard on the ground. Thatch goes into a dive, throws over to C. That ball gets behind him. Backing him up is Matt Klein, who keeps the ball from hitting the Wareham dugout on the first base side. So Sam White reaches and extends this inning.
Well, it's a great sliding stab there by Tanner Thatch at first base, saving, or at least taking a hit away from Sam White. Of course, he's still able to reach first base, but of course it's a nice piece of backup there by Matt Klein, who stops that ball from going in the Wareham dugout. That's one for Tanner Thatch where he maybe thought that he was hitting Taylor C in stride, but throwing it a bit behind him as C was closer to the bag than he thought, and it goes behind him, backed up by Matt Klein, as you mentioned. And now they'll extend this frame. That one just now nearly getting away from Tanner Thatch, but they just need to focus on the batter. It's Nate Early with 2 gone.
Thatch was given an error on the play. That's his second error so far of the season as the first pitch to Early cut on and missed for strike 1. C paying close attention to Sam White, who leads off first. He has 3 stolen bases so far this summer, is yet to be caught. As the righty comes set, the red glove at his chest, kicks and deals the 0-1. That in the dirt. White taking off for second. Klein's throw down is high. Goes off the glove of Becerra, but bounces right to him. So Sam White snags second base as he moves up into scoring position.
Well, you're seeing both of these coaches try to make some moves in the infield with stolen bases, some bunt plays, trying to make the other team make a mistake. Of course, going into this ball game, 4 errors for Wareham in the first 3 games in this season series, and 5 errors for the Kettleers, already 1 so far today. But to continue to put the ball in play, something that these 2 teams do very well.
2-1 is the count here on Early. He's also 0 for 1, flew out to Davalon in center. As C kicks and deals. The 2-1 fastball clips the inside corner. Really good placement there on the fastball. 92 on the gun from C, and that evens the count up at 2-2. White leads off second. Cotuit still leads 2-1 after the solo home run by Tristan Gray to lead off this top of the 4th. C comes home with a 2-2. Early spoils that as that gets out of play down the left field line. Early was extremely productive this past season at Florida Southwestern before entering the transfer portal, announcing his destination of Louisville. But at Florida Southwestern, hit .335 with 16 home runs. Hits a bullet, but right to Tanner Thatch at first base, who makes the grab for the 3rd and final out of the inning, but not before Wareham gets on the board as Tristan Gray blasts his 5th home run of the summer as Taylor C strands a runner on second after the error by Tanner Thatch, as we now head to the bottom of the 4th, with Cotuit leading Wareham 2-1 here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
When you need to be seen for a minor illness or injury, Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care is here for you with high-quality, full-service walk-in care. ER expertise meets urgent care convenience at our 6 urgent care centers, which are staffed by board-certified ER providers and located Cape-wide from Falmouth to Orleans. Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care is open daily and offers a cost-saving option for everything from sprains to stitches, with timely treatment in under an hour for most patients. View online wait times at capecodhealth.org/urgent care. Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care. Minor emergencies, major attention.
Get ready for big results with our small machines. With more power, performance, comfort, and savings, they're ready for every job. And we're ready with plenty of inventory, the best support in the business, same-day parts availability, and locations across the Northeast.
By the catcher, Gerald. So the count is 2-0. Gerald, of course, rocking his Clemson gear. The purple and orange mixing with the blue and wet red of the Wareham uniform. Definitely an interesting combination.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of colors going on there. He has most of the rainbow knocked out just on his uniform, but of course, any catcher's gear will do. Using his stuff from school, and a lot of guys will do that around the Cape League. See guys wear their team's batting gloves, mainly Timo Becerra, who's got the Stanford red batting gloves, and that works perfectly with the Cotuit uniform, especially with the Redshirt Friday jersey. You know, sometimes it really works out, but other times it does not look that great. And the red and blue with the purple and orange can't be the best look in the league.
Becerra hits this one on the ground to Gray at third base. We'll let it go foul, and it does eventually go foul. It was a close play down the line there. But just another foul ball off the bat of Timo Becerra as the count still remains even at 2-2.
That's just a great heads-up play by Murph Gray at third base. Charging out on that ball originally, but realizing that Timo Becerra would easily beat that throw up the first base line, so he watches that one spin all the way into foul territory. Of course, he was playing back of the bag, so it helps him have an extra second to take a look at that chopper, but Timo Becerra looking to extend that on-base streak today.
Becerra playing in his 16th game so far this summer. The 2-2 pitch to him, grounded to Antonio Jimenez at short. The long throw in time to nab Becerra, so one shortstop grounds out to the other as Becerra is set down for the first out.
Antonio Jimenez playing a phenomenal shortstop position for the Gatemen so far this season, and that's just a great play right there, as it looks like it's maybe just about soft enough off the bat of Becerra that he might be able to beat it out and at least get a bang-bang play at first. But Jimenez with the quick transfer immediately throws off the right foot, doesn't even set his feet, and delivers a perfect one to first.
This one floated back in. That'll dunk down into center field in front of Reese Chapman as Jaron Advincula. Another multi-hit game. Joe, stop me if you've heard that sentence before. But Advincula now today 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs as he reaches with 1 out in the inning.
Well, not just another multi-hit game, another one against this Gateman team. Going into this ball game was 4 for 10 against Wareham with 2 multi-hit games. Now make it 6 for 12, a 500 clip against this Wareham team, and his 3rd multi-hit game against the Gatemen.
Advincula leads off first. The opening offering to Nolan Naraki taken well outside for ball 1. We've seen this bottom of the lineup, and Joe, this is something that we talked about during the break, but the bottom of the lineup being catalyst for Cotuit's offensive success.
And I think it's just a testament to the way that these guys in the bottom third of the lineup can get on base. Timo Becerra, Jaron Advincula, Nolan Naraki, all guys who get on base at an incredibly high clip. I mean, you have 2 of the 5 guys that are in the top 5 of this team in batting average, batting at the 8 and 9 spots in the order. I mean, that's pretty incredible. And to send it to the top of the order in Tanner Thatch, it makes this lineup that much more lethal.
Advincula now hitting .409. That leads Cotuit so far this summer. Nolan Araki hitting .263 after he worked a walk in his first at-bat. Now looks at another pitch go by for the second ball. So he's up in the count 2-1. We've seen Timo Becerra have great games, was 3 for 3 yesterday. Of course, the success of Jaron Advincula and Nolan Araki. But it feels like whoever that Mike Roberts puts in that 7, 8, 9 spots have continually delivered. So 3-1 is the count on the Cotuit third baseman. Araki so far 2 for 8 against Wareham with a pair of walks. Sits up in the count 3-1 as Andrews kicks and deals at one taken for ball 4. So back-to-back runners have reached base as the Kettleers have runners on first and second, still with one out in this inning as they head back to the top of the order with Tanner Thatch.
Yeah, 2 singles for Advincula, 2 walks for Naraki, and that's exactly what Mike Roberts is thinking when he's putting those guys at the bottom of the lineup. And now Tanner Thatch with an opportunity with 2 runners on base to continue his strong play at the plate, try to extend this Cotuit lead.
Thatch today 0 for 2 with a ground out and a pop-up, but comes up in a big spot here with the game Cotuit leading 2-1 with runners on first and second as Andrews misses high and away to begin Thatch's third at-bat. Right-hander warming up for Wareham in their bullpen. As Andrews takes a look back at Advincula, comes home with the 1-0 pitch. That's a called strike. Thatch shakes his head, but the count is even at 1-1. Tanner Thatch, 8 home runs, 20 RBIs so far this year. He's come up with a multitude of clutch hits as Andrews steps off his pickoff throw. A high looper, but Advincula is back in plenty of time.
Yeah, that's one there where they're just trying to reset the pitch clock. Might as well toss it back to Antonio Jimenez. Reset that clock, give him another chance at 1-1.
Thatch leads Cotuit in RBIs as he takes a big cut out of the off-speed pitch as that's well in the dirt, so the count goes to 1-2. Thatch with 20 RBIs, Compton with 19. Naraki with 12, Jaron Advincula now up to double digits after his 2 RBI single. He is now sitting at 10. Andrews kicks and deals the 1-2 pitch, got him swinging. Tanner Thatch goes down on strikes. It's just the second strikeout of the day for Heath Andrews, but he picks up an ultra-important second out of the inning.
Well, that's a swing from Tanner Thatch, not the finishing swing, but the one right before that. 81-mile-an-hour curveball that was down and away in the zone. Don't really see Tanner Thatch chase after a pitch that's low and away, but had to assume that that one was coming back towards him in the box, but just finishes low and outside and then chases after that high fastball. It's just great sequencing there from Heath Andrews, who is messing up the eye level of Tanner Thatch, going up high, going down low with the off speed, and that's a big reason as to why he's been really effective, especially with runners on base in this ball game.
Cotuit so far hitting just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position as they've left 4 guys on. In danger of leaving another 2 on here if Easton Winfield can't pick up his second hit or reach for a third time today. Winfield so far 1 for 1 with a double and walked in his last at-bat. Andrews a long look in. The pitch clock reads 9, now delivers as the 0-1 pitch. That's laced into left field. That'll drop down in front of Sam White. As the ball gets away from him, Advincula comes in to score. Getting the wave around third is Naraki. The relay throw to the plate, there is none as Easton Winfield has done it again. He plates Jaron Advincula and Nolan Naraki as the Kettleers take a 4-1 lead here in the bottom of the 4th.
How about the scorching hot bat of Easton Winfield, who again puts that into the opposite field alleyway, bringing home a pair of runs. It was one that was booted by Sam White, who is particularly a catcher for West Virginia where he goes to school, but playing in left field with Gerald behind the dish today and misplaying that ball initially and then making the mistake of throwing it to third base. And easily right there, Mike Roberts sees that the ball is coming to third, immediately sends Naraki home, and the Kettleers have a 4-1 lead.
So it's ruled a hit for Winfield, also an error committed by Sam White as that knocks out Heath Andrews, who goes 3 2/3 innings pitched, got just 2 strikeouts, gives up 6 hits, 4 runs, and walked 3. So with the new arm for Wareham coming into the game, we'll step aside for a quick commercial break here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Escape the summer heat at Polar Cave Ice Cream Parlor, located on Route 28 in Mashpee, right at the Barnstable town line. Our creamy, homemade ice cream flavors will delight your taste buds. Plus, Kettleers kids get a free comb on home game days. Call us at 508-477-5553 or email info@polarcave.com to learn more. Come chill with us and experience the coolest treats on Cape Cod.
RCA Electric and Generators is dedicated to helping homeowners and building contractors select, purchase, install, and maintain the ideal generator for their specific needs. Since being founded by Randy Agnew in 1990, this Barnstable-based family-run business has grown its reputation by serving all of Cape Cod, the South Shore, and the South Coast. Get in touch today by reaching out to RCA at 508-428-0449 or visit in person at 153 Commercial Street in Mashpee.
Willow Bend has been regarded as one of Cape Cod's and New England's premier private clubs and communities for over 25 years. Willow Bend is a family-friendly community right here in Cotuit. They strive for a fun and relaxed lifestyle with good times and good friends. Discover all that and more at Willow Bend.
The new pitcher for the Gatemen is the righty Zane Coppersmith, Coppersmith making his 5th appearance, 2nd appearance against the Kettleers so far this summer, has a 2.25 ERA and 4 innings worked. Has allowed 5 hits, just 1 run. Hasn't walked a batter and struck out 5 as he gets set to face off against Brandon Compton. The first pitch to him looked at for strike number 1. Easton Winfield stands on second. He reached after his second hit of the day. Advanced to second after the error by Sam White in left field. That allowed Jaron Advincul and Nolan Araki to come in to score. As Cotuit, 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 error. Wareham, 1 run on 3 hits, 1 error. As Compton falls behind here, looks at the 91-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 2. And Coppersmith just 1 strike away from getting out of this bottom of the 4th. Coppersmith pitched in the last game against Cotuit, went an inning as Compton stays alive, fouls that straight back off the fence behind home plate. Worked a scoreless 9th inning, did strike out a batter in that game. Faced Tyler Cerny, Charles Davalon, and Nolan Araki. As he takes a long look back at Winfield on second, kicks and deals the 0-2 pitch to Compton. This one hitting the center field, but getting underneath it is Reese Chapman, who makes the grab for the 3rd and final out of the inning. So Zane Coppersmith comes out of the bullpen and relieves Heath Andrews and gets Brandon Compton to fly out to center field, but not before Cotuit advances their lead. They now lead 4-1 after the RBI single from Easton Winfield. So we head to the top of the 5th with Cotuit leading Wareham 4-1 here on the Kettleers Digital Network. Each week, the Cape Cod Baseball League is honoring those who served with Red Shirt Fridays. Every home team on Fridays wear red Cape League uniforms and an Army camouflaged hat. For every Friday game at Lowell Park, the Kettleers are honoring a hero of the game presented by the Massachusetts State Lottery. For exclusive Red Shirt Friday gear like fitted player hats, head to the Kettleers store at the ballpark. We hope you can join us for a Red Shirt Friday at Lowell Park this season. For over 40 years, Vollmer & Son Construction has proudly served its community, providing a wide range of construction services, from bathroom renovations to complete home remodels. When you work with Vollmer & Son, you are being taken care of by natives of Cape Cod who support the community by using local suppliers and subcontractors. Vollmer & Son Construction, a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers.
Looking to connect with the right business? ZoomInfo's got you covered. With a database of over 100 million company profiles, they provide top-notch data to boost sales and marketing growth. Since 2007, ZoomInfo's B2B data quality has ensured that businesses have the best intelligence right at your fingertips. Discover more at zoominfo.com and see how you can get connected today.
Taylor C. returns to the mound here in the top of the fifth and finds himself with a newfound 3-run advantage after the 2 RBI single by Easton Winfield that plated Jaron Advincula and Nolan Araki. A C in his Kettleer debut has gone 4 innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 run, that coming off the home run by Murph Gray just an inning ago. Has yet to walk a batter and has struck out 2. As Jacob Jarrell thought about swing at the opening pitch, checks his swing, but it's called strike regardless. Jarrell today 0 for 1 with a fly out to Brandon Compton in left field. That ended the second inning as he hits another fly ball, this one into straightaway center field. Now coming on in is Charles Davalon, who makes the grab for the first out here in the top of the fifth.
Yeah, so they leave Taylor C. out there. Looks like there was one arm warming up in the Kettleers bullpen, but not to the full 60 feet 6 inches point yet. Or now he's going to walk up to the bump right now. But with one out in this frame, trying to get Colby Turner, the 9-man in this lineup for Wareham, before it flips back up to the top. But Taylor C. has worked smoothly through his first couple rotations around this Wareham lineup.
Count is 0-1 on Turner, who's 0 for 1, and Taylor C. made 25 appearances this past season at Texas State. Didn't start a game. Did have a 2-0 record and a 6.05 ERA. But working deep into this game now in his 5th inning of work as the count evened up at 1-1. 61 pitches, 45 strikes for C. As the righty with a long pause kicks and deals the 1-1 pitch. That's looked at for a called strike 2. That's something that he's done really well today, is pull ahead of these Gatemen hitters.
And I think that's really the key. I mean, everybody goes into an at-bat with a game plan, whether it be the pitcher, catcher, or batter.
The 1-2 hit on the ground to Naraki at the hot corner. His long throw in time as Tanner Thatch nearly going into the full splits. But Colby Turner retired on another ground out to Nolan Naraki at third. He's now 0 for 2 as we head back to the top of the Gatemen lineup.
Yeah, great stretch at first by Tanner Thatch, who has continued to play a solid first base, even though he does have the 1 error for the Kettleers today. But more on that, as we were just talking about. C going into the at-bat with a game plan, as are the batters. And the batters can't really go through with that game plan if they continue to fall behind in the count 0-1, 1-2. They'd have to continue to go up there and swing protectively, as we see him get ahead here on Johan Desero.
Desero 1 for 2, singled in his first at-bat, and then flew out to Easton Winfield in his last at-bat, that coming in the 3rd inning as he rockets this one back up the middle. That'll get through into center field. So Johan Desero picks up his 2nd single of the day and improves now to 2 for 3.
Yeah, pretty similar to the first single that we saw off the bat of Desero at the beginning of the game. This one straight back up the middle, and it gets by Jaron Advincula. So another great piece of hitting from Desero, exactly what you want from your leadoff man. And now it looks like Mike Roberts will leave Taylor C. in the ball game. Matt Klein will walk out to the bump just to have a couple of words with his pitcher. But who knows if this is an effort to potentially give whoever that right-handed arm warming up in the Ketts bullpen a bit more time to warm up before bringing him into this ball game. But of course, Matt Klein and Taylor C. definitely wanting to concoct a good game plan to take down Antonio Jimenez here, who is one of the toughest outs in this Wareham lineup. So have to assume that they'll attack him at the bottom of the zone, similarly to what Taylor C. has done against Antonio Jimenez so far in this game, and was able to get a big swing and miss against him on a low and outside breaking ball the last time he was up, so we'll see if they try to do that again here.
This is the first time Taylor C. and Matt Klein have worked together, so making sure they're on the same page. As C's pickoff move, Desero slides back in safely. Jimenez, like you mentioned, Joe, 0 for 2 today. Did reach on a fielder's choice, swing away at the first pitch, pops this one into the short outfield. Grashshire and Advincula on the run, makes the grab for the third and final out of the inning as Taylor C. allows the 2-out single to Johan Desero, but does not allow Desero to come in and score as Cotuit still leads 4-1 after 4.5 innings of play here at Lowell Park. And when we come back on the Kettleers Digital Network, my broadcast partner Joe Pratt will take you the rest of the way in a battle between the number 1 and 2 seeds here in the West Division.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Bottom of the 5th inning from Lowell Park. Zane Coppersmith back out to the mound. Cotuit with a 3-run lead. And it's time to revisit today's trivia question brought to you by the Cotuit Library. Let's go ahead and repeat that question for you. This Vanderbilt outfielder, he was taken in the first round of the 2023 MLB draft, so just a summer ago, is headed to the Baltimore Orioles, but played in the second half of the 2022 summer with the Kettleers, an outfielder who has phenomenal speed, played on the Team USA national team, and then came to the Kettleers in that summer of 22. As Devin Taylor digs in and takes a called strike one. So we hope that everybody went into the YouTube comments section to try to answer this trivia question today, as we're going to go ahead and reveal the answer right now. Any guesses? I mean, this is probably the toughest one we've had, I think.
I do know the answer, and that's only because the 2022 broadcaster, Jake Starr, stayed at my place a couple of days ago, and we're actually talking about guys who were drafted, so I did know this answer.
As Taylor flips this one into deep left field, sending Sam White into the shadows, who pulls down the first out of this bottom of the 5th. So today's trivia question, it's Enrique Bradfield Jr., so played here at the second half of that 2022 campaign. Just a great guy on and off the field. It was great to get to know him a little bit as I interviewed him a couple times as a writer for the Kettleers, and just an incredibly humble guy and someone who played a great few years at Vanderbilt and is set to make a difference in that Baltimore Orioles organization. So that concludes today's edition of Ketts Trivia, brought to you by the Cotuit Library. Hope to have another great question for you when we make our return to Lowell Park. That's going to be next Tuesday. Excuse me, that'll be Sunday, right before the off day, as this one sent into left field towards the left field corner, but foul off the bat of Matt Klein. He is 1 for 2. scored a run after leading off the second inning with a single. Came around to score on Jaron Advincula's 2 RBI single. But yeah, Cotuit hitting the road to play at Chatham tomorrow night. They'll play at Veterans Field, 7 p.m. start time there. Then return to take on the best team in the CCBL, Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, on Sunday. That should be a good one. Cotuit will be off on Monday, and then they travel for 2 straight road games against Hyannis and at Orleans next Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're in the last week of the season before the Cape Cod All-Star Game. That'll be on July 27th, taking place in Falmouth. As it's now an 0-2 count and a solid battle here worked by Matt Klein with 2 strikes in this count.
On the previous foul ball, Matt Klein roped that deep down the left field line. Didn't know it went foul as Klein was chugging around the base passes. Wareham was collecting that ball.
Could have been another extra base hit on the season for Matt Klein. Would have been his second against these Wareham Gatemen. Hit his first and only home run of the season at Spillane Field the last time these 2 teams met. That was 9 days ago, game 21 of the season.
Back-to-back balls here by Coppersmith. First 2 balls he's thrown.
Lifted down the left field line again. How huge is that to have a relief man to enter into the ball game and be a solid strike thrower, but not only that, be able to pitch around the barrels of the bats.
And he came into the game in a big spot with Easton Winfield standing on second base.
Another foul ball laced down the left field line.
Then got the fly out of Brandon Compton, started off the inning with the fly out of Devin Taylor, and it's massive just to have a guy who we're seeing here with Taylor C. as a starting pitcher for the Kettleers, but consistently get ahead of hitters and take hitters out of their rhythm here as Coppersmith 16 pitches, 13 strikes.
Another foul ball off the bat of Matt Klein. Nice play by Mike Roberts at third. Gets a nice ovation from this crowd and definitely from the Cotuit dugout. Big smile on his face as the 2-2 pitch to Klein is incoming. Launched through the right side of the infield, and that's a base hit for Klein. So he improves to 2 for 3 and continues his tear against these Wareham Gatemen. And with 1 gone, Charles Davalon will have his first looks on Zane Coppersmith.
You can hear Mike Roberts saying, "Great at bat, Matt, great at bat, Matt." And Matt Klein with another great at bat, not to steal the words of Mike Roberts, but Klein seeing 10 pitches and on that 10th pitch just grounding that through the hole on the right side of the infield and into right field as Klein now 2 for 3 of the day. And even when he sits for back-to-back games, comes right back into this lineup and automatically produces.
Now 5 for 11 against the Wareham Gatemen so far this summer is Matt Klein. As it's a 1-0 count to Charles Davalon, getting his first start since the Kets played at Yarmouth Dennis on Monday. 1-0 pitch is fouled straight back into the parking lot. It's a crowded parking lot today.
A lot of kids chasing after those balls.
You know, it's amazing that all those cars, you know, not that it's the most reliable insurance, they do have a lot of kids in the parking lot playing the field there, trying to protect those windshields. Kind of working in favor of Cotuit and keeping those cars safe, hopefully, if they're able to make those plays. But we've seen a couple of baseballs punish some cars. 2-1 count to Davalon.
Those kids acting like the last line of defense for the cars, and you've seen them make a couple of really nice plays this year. 1 or 2 times we've seen a kid catch a pop-up off the bat. So definitely good insurance.
Davalon takes up and inside. That was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball from Coppersmith. It nearly hit the right elbow guard that hangs off of Davalon's right arm. But it sends this count to 3-1 as Coppersmith comes set after looking at Klein. And the pitch misses, so Charles Davalon is on his way to first for the second time today. Still 1 for 2 and adding a walk to his stat line.
And Cotuit continuing to put together good at-bats so far against Wareham. They have 4 runs, 8 hits, and now you're getting another 2 guys on to reach base. And it's been every single inning so far this game, they've put a guy in scoring position, and now in 4 consecutive innings, they've had at least 2 runners on in an inning. So it's been a big offensive outburst so far for the Kettleers. However, they still have struggled with runners in scoring position, hitting just 2 for 10. But Timo Becerra comes up in a big spot here with 2 runners on and trying to really break open this game.
Cotuit with a 4-1 lead, 1 gone, and runners on first and second in this bottom of the 5th. Timo Becerra today is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts as he takes down low and takes control of the count, 1-0. So back on Wednesday, Becerra struggling at the plate, going 0 for 4 against Orleans, but then just a night later, last night, responding with a 3 for 3 day at the plate. Knocked 2 doubles and walked once against Chatham. Was a big part of Cotuit's 8-5 victory against the Anglers in back-to-back comeback win fashion. But Timo Becerra mainly being a depth piece on this infield for the Kettleers, playing behind Tyler Cerny at times, but the way that he's swinging the bat, the way that he plays defense, it's really more of a 1A, 1B with Timo Becerra and Tyler Cerny. Those 2 guys with a lot of experience at Stanford and Indiana alike. And it clearly shows as they are staples in the heart of this Kettleers infield as that one's rolled towards Gray at third. He goes to second for 1, relayed to first. It's in and out of the glove of Eli Putnam. So beat out up the first base line by Timo Becerra. The inning will continue, but now 2 gone with runners on the corners and Jaron Advincula digging in.
The second baseman, Johan Desero, hitting himself on the chest and looking right at the first baseman, Eli Putnam, saying, "That's on me, that's on me." The throw was low in the dirt. Putnam trying to make the pick there and double up Timo Becerra, but Becerra reaches and keeps this inning alive. This play could end up being vital as now you have Jaron Advincula digging in, a guy who's 2 for 2 already, has 2 RBIs today. And you know the type of hitter he is, especially against this Wareham pitching staff. All Advincula needs is a pitch around the plate, and he might knock his 3rd hit tonight.
Yeah, Kettleers putting 3 base runners on last night by way of the fielder's choice. 2 of those guys ended up coming around to score, so it just shows you the importance of still being able to get a base runner on first and preventing the double play ball from being completed. So Jaron Advincula takes a 1-0 advantage in this count, his 3rd at-bat coming in the bottom of the 5th. And Coppersmith will check back at first. Advincula 2 for 2 at the plate so far. And going up against Coppersmith for the 2nd time today. 1 for 1 with a single, did come around to score. That was just an inning ago as he pops this one up into foul territory. Gray watches it sail to the base of the home grandstand. It will kick over the staircase and deep into the trees as plenty of kids will race on after it. Turned out to be a good crowd on hand tonight. Maybe a bit uncertain when the game was starting. There was a lot of open space in the visitors' grandstand and some on the home grandstand. Not too many people down either baseline, but it seems like everybody made the way from the beach, the golf course, the boats, and made it to the game.
Fans lining up in their lawn chairs in the outfield too, so definitely is packed house here at Lowell Park. Couldn't ask for a better night for baseball. Just around 80 degrees and perfectly sunny.
And Vincula takes up and away. It's 2-1. Just not a cloud in the sky, and that's something that Cotuit fans and the Kettleers are definitely long been waiting for. A lot of overcast clouds in the past week or so, but the weather has cleared up as Becerra takes off for second, and he will get there without a throw.
Wareham electing and Jacob Jarrell electing not to throw that ball down. And if you remember the last time these two teams squared off, that was a play where they did throw down to second, got in a rundown, and it was Jaron Advincula dancing off on third, Max Ballou on first. Both ended up being safe on that play.
Advincula pops this one up just outside of the infield. There goes Jimenez into the shadows, who pulls down the third out of this bottom of the 5th inning. So the Kettleers, with a base runner on a walk, a fielder's choice, and a hit, they're unable to bring any of them home to score. No errors and a couple left on base for the Kettleers. As we move into the top of the 6th inning, as Adele Huffman is joined at field level with one lucky fan. What do you have for us, Adele?
I'm standing here with Jacob. You guys mentioned on the broadcast how that bat flew. I'm here with Jacob so he can tell us the story of what happened.
All right, so pretty much what happened was I was just sitting in the stands with my mom and sister, and we were just kind of minding our own business, watching the game. And then all of a sudden, this guy swings at a pitch, and he loses it. I don't know, it slipped out of his hands. But it came flying up. I'm not really sure what happened. It might have hit someone behind me, but it kind of dropped to my left behind me. So I just kind of grabbed it because I was going to give it back to the guy if they wanted it, since like I play baseball and I know how important like my equipment, like my bat is. I thought he'd appreciate it if I want it back. And so I came down and I gave it back, and then Coach Roberts decided to give me this bat right here. So I was really appreciative of that, and he just kind of gave me that bat, and it was great.
And that's a pretty nice bat, Jacob. And do you have a favorite player out here or a favorite part of coming to Cotuit games?
I don't really have a favorite player right now, but I think my favorite part is definitely like the environment. It's just really like immersive and like including. And like when I was little, I used to go to the camps, and so it's like great to be here now, like when I'm older.
That's awesome. So you knew Coach Roberts.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Jacob. Thanks for being here with us today, and we'll send it back up to the booth with Joe and Alex.
Thanks, Adele, and thank you, Jacob. And Alex, that's pretty cool. I mean, he's able to grab that bat. It was Antonio Jimenez who let go of it earlier on in this ball game. He was able to pull it down, avoid anybody from getting hurt from that baseball bat. And pretty cool that he's able to go home with a brand new one from Mike Roberts.
Just really awesome stuff there that Mike Roberts, we talked about his hustle to get Jacob a new bat, but also just really cool to see Jacob talking about his favorite parts about coming to Kettleers games, of course, being with his mom and his sister, just a really nice family affair here, and that's the atmosphere at Lowell Park. It's a nice family vibe, and you can come here and watch excellent baseball, and just all really awesome to see Jacob making that play and now going home with a brand new baseball bat.
Super cool. And I mean, it just goes to show you how tight-knit this community is in Cotuit. So many of these kids running around the ballpark trying to catch fly balls. A lot of those guys and girls are hanging out around the field earlier in the day, as this one's ripped off the bat of Tristan Gray. It nearly gets back to the fence. Davalon cuts it off. The relay from Becerra is into second. And in there safely goes Tristan Gray with a leadoff double. So a single in the first inning for Gray, a homer in the fourth, and now a double as he's just a triple away from the cycle here in this 6th frame.
That was a closer play really than it seemed, as Charles Davalon in center field hustled over to that ball, made the strong relay throw as Gray jogging into second base. Advincula slaps the tag on him, but Gray is in safely, and just like you mentioned, have a day. Tristan Gray is 3 for 3, just a triple away from the cycle, as that appears to be the end of the day for Taylor C.
So Taylor C enters into this 6th inning, gives up a double off the bat of Tristan Gray. And his day will be done after 5+ innings pitched. A new righty will enter into the ball game for the Kettleers. First call to the bullpen from Lowell Park. Don't go anywhere here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Operating on Cape Cod since 1988, Advanced Embroidery has garnered national awards in embroidery and screen printing. They offer screenings on golf shirts, Oxford shirts, jackets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and bags. Advanced Embroidery will print your company's or team's logos anywhere. Thousands of satisfied customers can attest for Advanced Embroidery's attentive customer service, tight quality control, and quick turnaround time. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday on 38 Plant Road in Hyannis.
Beacon Gardens is a full-service garden center right here in Mashpee. They sell a variety of landscaping materials and seasonal produce to both consumers and landscaping professionals around the Barnstable Village. Stop by and see all Beacon Gardens has to offer at 182 West Barnstable Road in Austerville.
Operating.
So the new pitcher into the ballgame for the Kettleers, making his 6th appearance in the pinstripes this summer. It'll be Mikey Ebner. A 2.57 ERA through 14 innings pitched so far this season, but of course pitched over 11 innings scoreless to start off his summer campaign before running into some issues late in the game at Harwich. Pitched 2 scoreless frames, but then wanted to go out there, finish up the ball game as the Kettleers were leading that one 16-4 at the time. Or excuse me, it was 16-4 at the time. But Michael Ebner going in for that 9th inning, he ended up throwing 67 pitches in the outing overall. It was his longest outing of the season, but did give up 4 earned runs, a home run, and a couple base knocks. So some garbage time hitting there for the Harwich Mariners that elevated Mikey Ebner's ERA up to 2.57, but still the most reliable arm out of this bullpen for the Kettleers so far this summer, Alex. And what have you liked most from him so far?
I think just the aggressiveness of Mikey Ebner out on the mound. And this is a guy who said at the beginning of the summer that he didn't really have the command and control that he would have wanted to as pitches, and likes to start pitch at-bats with first pitch strikes, as he doesn't do so here. But when he can really get ahead of hitters, that's when he has full control and full command of his arsenal, and he's done that for most of the season, and boy, has he looked good.
The first batter he'll face here is Reese Chapman, who is 0 for 2, and now takes a strike at 1-1. So back-to-back breaking balls there for Mikey Ebner to start off this ball game, as he made his first appearance for the Kettleers in Game 2 of the season. Pitched 3 scoreless innings against Orleans. 9 up, 9 down, and now here he is in Game 28 of the season, still with this Kettleers team out in the bullpen. As that one there skipped in by Matt Klein, back up to the mound. Nice scoop there by Ebner, who's got a 2-1 count on Reese Chapman. And he takes a turning breaking ball that just falls off of a shelf and into the strike zone to even up at 2-2. Reese Chapman coming off of his 2nd season at Tennessee. As this one is powered into deep center field. Charles Davalon settles under it though, and in the alleyway he pulls it down. Murph Gray will head back to second, and that's the first out of this 6th inning.
And that's what we've seen from Ebner so far this year, not being afraid to challenge hitters, and gives Chapman a pitch right over the heart of the plate, but he gets well underneath it, skies that into center field as Davalon makes the easy grab. And that's just what we've seen from Michael Ebner this year, a guy who works to weak contact and picks up a boatload of outs.
So now it's Eli Putnam, who rolls the first pitch he sees towards the third base coaching's box. Eli Putnam is 0 for 2, excuse me. This is 3rd plate appearance today. Popped out into foul territory to end the 1st inning. And in that 1st inning, Wareham was able to put 2 men in scoring position to lead off this inning. Murph Gray with a double, just the 4th man to enter scoring position for the Gatemen so far today. Kettleers pitching has done a nice job of holding runners, as all 3 of the runners in scoring position have been left on base. Of course, the 4th still being on base, Tristan Gray. 1-1 pitch is hammered into straightaway center, but perfectly playable for Charles Davalon, who waits on it and makes the grab for the 2nd out of this 6th inning.
Ebner coming in, throwing strikes, 8 pitches, 5 strikes, records 2 outs, both flyouts to Charles Davalon in center field, who's been ultra busy out there. That's now the 5th flyout to Davalon in center so far today.
Been tested a lot out there, and I mean, to have a pitcher who started off this ball game, Taylor C., the amount of fly balls that he gave up, some of them hard contact, some of them weaker contact, but still having to hold things down in the outfield. Charles Davalon in center, Easton Winfield getting the start in right, and Brandon Compton has pretty much been the everyday man for the Kets in left. But really, no matter who Mike Roberts is deciding to put out there in the outfield, it has worked to the Kettleers' advantage. You've seen Max Ballou out there in center, Nathan Hall. How huge is that just to be able to have so many guys on this roster? Welcome back into Lowell Park as we begin this bottom of the 8th inning. We apologize as we ran into some computer difficulties here at our broadcast setup at Lowell Park, so we're unable to do a video telecasted YouTube stream and huddle stream, so we appreciate you all working through this difficult time for us as we move to radio on YouTube through OBS Studios. So we move into this bottom of the 8th inning. Thank you for joining us on our radio broadcast as the Kettleers making their way through that 6th inning unscathed. In the bottom of the 6th, the new pitcher came into the game for Wareham. It was Matt Maloney. He struck out the side in that 6th inning, and then the Kettleers went 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. After a leadoff double by Tristan Gray in the 6th, the Gatemen went 3 up, 3 down, and then the Gatemen went 3 up, 3 down in the 7th and in the 8th innings as Mikey Ebner has retired each of the 9 batters he has faced so far. And so you haven't really missed much here on the Kettleers radio network now. As the batter is Charles Davalon, and he takes a ball one down low. As the next pitch was in there for a called strike to the dismay of the Kettleers dugout. So a 1-1 count to Charles Davalon. He is 1 for 2 today, a walk in the 5th inning, double back in the 2nd. 1-1 pitch. Misses low and outside. It's gloved by Gerald in the righty batter's box. Davalon slightly checked his swing, but goes back to 2-1. Infield and outfield are the exact same for the Gatemen. Putnam at first, he's playing 8 feet off the line, as is Gray at third. Middle infielders playing at normal depth. 2-1 pitch to Davalon, misses outside at 90 miles an hour. And he takes the driver's seat at 3-1 in this count. So the Kettleers looking for their first base runner since the bottom of the 5th inning. Davalon trying to do just that to start off this bottom of the 8th. Delivery coming in from Maloney. Taken low and inside by Davalon, who flings the bat towards the Ketts dugout on the third base side, and he's headed to first. So a leadoff walk for Charles Davalon, and he is just the second Kettleer to reach since that 5th inning, and he was the one to reach. Worked to walk, his second of the game.
Davalon's had a lot of success so far today. 1 for 2, of course, Joe. You mentioned the 2 walks. Also laced the double, has scored once, and just been a key figure right in the middle of this Cotuit lineup.
And they're facing the new pitcher into this ball game. Bryce Gluckman. Another arm used in this Wareham bullpen as Timo Becerra lays down the bunt just in front of home plate. Gluckman out to get it, throws to first, but it gets away, goes up the right field line, deep down the fence line as Davalon is charging around third. He's headed home and will score on the fielding miscue by the Gatemen as Timo Becerra cruises into second base, and the Kettleers have a 5-1 lead.
That was a bunt play right in front of home plate, and the catcher, Jacob Gerald, was directing Bryce Gluckman, throw to first, hurried up, and Gluckman hurried up his throw and just threw it up the first base line, and great speed from Charles Davalon there, like he was shot out of a cannon, racing around those base paths. Easily comes in and scoring, just on a bunt right back to the pitcher. Timo Becerra stands in scoring position.
So they'll rule it an error for the time being. Timo Becerra stands on second. There's still no outs in this inning. Now Jaron Advincula. He shows bunt, pulls it back as the pitch misses down low, and it's 1-0 to him. So both of the corner infielders, Putnam at first, Murph Gray at third, they're both playing up on the infield grass. Second baseman Desereau pretty much directly in between the first and second base bags as he's ready to cover first base when Putnam charges in. 1-0 pitch. Advincula lays it down the third base line, and it will roll just a couple feet into foul territory where Gray picks it up, and it'll be a 1-1 count to Jaron Advincula as shadows have casted their way across this entire field as there's just a pocket of sunshine in the right field corner as the relievers for Wareham are the only people in this entire ballpark having to look directly into the sun. Rest of the infield and outfield covered in the shadows as the sun makes its way beneath the trees down the left field line as Advincula shows bunt, and it goes in and out of the glove of Jacob Gerald, who is out of the crouch. It rolls towards the Kettleers on deck circle, and hustling up to third goes Timo Becerra. So it'll be a 2-1 count here on Jaron Advincula, and once again, Cotuit taking advantage of a fielding mistake by Wareham.
That last play was ruled a single, so Becerra picks up another hit today. Of course, the throwing error by Bryce Gluckman, and one wild pitch later, and Becerra's 90 feet away, and Jaron Advincula coming up in another big spot.
The pitch is rocketed high and foul out of play to the left side. Advincula entering this ball game with a 395 clip after going hitless yesterday, but with 2 hits so far today, back up to 404. Now with the entire infield in, Gluckman is set. The 2-2 pitch. Here it comes. Advincula fights it off straight back and into the parking lot to our left. Fans standing up just behind home plate, all around it until either dugout starts, where the home grandstand lies on the third base line, visitor grandstand down the right field line. It was packed earlier in the ball game, but as we move past the 8th inning, fans seemingly headed to the exits as that one again pops out of the glove of Gerald, who is out of the crouch once more, but is able to locate it by the feet of the left-handed swinging Jaron Advincula. And the count is now full. So no outs in the inning. Timo Becerra takes his lead off third. Already 1 run in for the Kettleers as they lead it 5-1. The 3-1 pitch from Gluckman. Advincula gets underneath that spinning pop-up, sends it down the left field line. Charging in is the left fielder White. He lets it fall at his feet just inside the chalk line as Timo Becerra hustles in from third and scores. And Sam White unable to make a play on that ball as Advincula sends a seeing eye single down the left field line. His third of the day, his third RBI of the day, and the Kettleers have a 6-1 lead.
That's just the Kettleers taking advantage of another fielding miscue by this Wareham defense. Of course, the error allowed Timo Becerra to reach second. He advances to third on a wild pitch, and just really nice and timely hitting by Jaron Advincula, who picks up the bloop base knock and notches his third RBI today.
Luke Hansen was a defensive substitution last inning for the Kettleers, so he took over Nolan Araki's spot at third. Now he's batting in his spot in the 9-hole. Takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Facing Gluckman for the first time in his first looks at the plate. The righty awaits. The 0-1 pitch, taken low and inside for a called strike 2. 77 on the gun there from Gluckman as it turns in from the left shoulder of Luke Hansen all the way down in front of his left knee. But now with the all-black bat, long blonde hair flowing out of the back of that navy blue helmet, Hansen awaits and rolls this one off the end of his bat towards third. Gray is up with it, charging in and throwing to second for 1. The relay to first is not in time as Hansen beats it out up the first base line, and that'll be the first out of the inning for the Wareham Gatemen, getting the force play at second.
And Bryce Gluckman has not pitched much as of late, this being just his second appearance this year, and his first only recorded 1 out. Faced just 3 batters, picked up 1 out, hit a batter, and walked 1. But even this past year at Stetson, the rising sophomore didn't pitch in a game, so going all the way back to high school, last time Bryce Gluckman went to the mound.
And the first pitch is running inside on Tanner Thatch, and it hit him. Hit off of his back leg. Thatch frustrated with that. Clearly wanted to step up there and take a few hacks, given that he's 0 for 4 today, and now 0 for 4 with a hit by pitch, so extends that on base streak. But for Tanner Thatch, he just wanted an opportunity to swing the bat there.
We've seen Tanner with big swings today, looking to jack his 9th home run of the summer, but on the first pitch from Gluckman, just runs way too far inside and plunks Thatch.
So now it's Easton Winfield. He has had a phenomenal day at the plate so far. He's 2 for 3, a single, a double, a walk, also a strikeout as he takes a strike 1 at the bottom part of the zone from Gluckman, who's ahead 0-1. So Easton Winfield, starting off this ball game, had the first hit for the Kets, took it to the left center field alleyway just in front of the scoreboard. For a stand-up 2-bagger, he was left there, then was left at third on the walk, was left at second an inning later after his single. So a guy who has made a massive difference in this game for the Kettleers, driving in 2 runs, but hasn't been able to have been picked up so far. But now he evens up this count at 1-1. And a chance to extend this Kettleers lead with runners on first and second. Gluckman set. Here comes the 1-1 offering. He misses upstairs, and Winfield takes control. It's 2-1. But Easton Winfield with an immediate impact to this Kettleers lineup since joining this roster just over a week ago. As Gluckman comes set with the black glove just above his belt, taking a look at second and the 2-1 home. Winfield pops it up. Into foul territory goes the catcher Jarrell and Murph Gray, who's at the base of the Cotuit dugout, but that one pops into the stands and goes about halfway up. Foul ball that one lucky fan will go home with. And the at-bat for Easton Winfield continues. It's 2-2. Winfield starting off his Cotuit career going 0 for 3 in Hyannis, but getting the start at Yarmouth Dennis on Monday, going 3 for 4 there. And then, of course, with a clutch double to start off the 8th inning yesterday. Now he fans and misses at an 83-mile-an-hour breaking ball low in the zone. And Gluckman has picked up his first strikeout of this outing.
Gluckman bouncing back here, picking up the strikeout of Easton Winfield. Has struggled so far today, 21 pitches, 11 strikes. But this is a big spot here for Gluckman. Can't allow these 2 runners to come in facing the dangerous Brandon Compton.
Bryce Gluckman out of Stetson. Throws here to Brandon Compton, who takes low and outside for a called strike one. Didn't appear in any games, though, this season for the Hatters. Listed on their roster as a right-handed pitcher and infielder. Finishing up his freshman season there. As the next pitch is fouled straight back into the netting. Off the bat of Brandon Compton, that one headed straight towards our broadcast booth, Alex. You would have had it.
I was ready for it. Flashing the bare hand. I got to one up Willie T over there who missed the bare hand play.
Yeah, at the start of the game. Willie T now with his hands full, though, has everybody's arm and ankle guards standing in the first base coach's box as Brandon Compton takes low and outside and now continues this at bat at 1-2. So Bryce Gluckman really trying to dot the low and outside part of the plate to these left-handed swingers. Missed the mark against Tanner Thatch, but is ahead here on Brandon Compton. The runners are on first and second. Hanson, a short lead at second. Same thing with Thatch at first. The 1-2. Compton gets a piece of it and flares it foul to our left. But Gluckman not his first taste of summer ball this summer. Playing in the Florida Collegiate Summer League earlier this summer, appearing in 12 games, 19 innings pitched, 25 strikeouts, but he did allow 14 earned runs. That was good for a 6.63 ERA as Compton blasts this one to right field. Turner ranging in. He will make the grab just in front of that navy blue cap as the Kettleers will strand 2 runners on base in the bottom of this 8th inning, but still lead at 6-1 as we go to the last from Lowell Park tonight. Kettleers in front by 5 here on the Kettleers Radio Network. Last chance for the Wareham Gatemen here in the top of the 9th inning. Mikey Ebner is back on the bump, working into his 4th inning of work. So far has faced 9 batters, retired each of them, and is facing the heart of this Gateman lineup here in the 9th. His first pitch misses low and outside on the breaking ball to Reese Chapman, who's 0 for 3 today. A ground out back in the 1st inning, followed by 2 straight flyouts to Charles Davalon in center field. So the 1-0 pitch is upcoming from Mikey Ebner to the left-handed swinging Chapman. That one finds the dirt, and he takes a 2-0 advantage. So Wareham, all they're looking for here is a base runner to start off this 9th frame. Their last one to reach was the leadoff man back in the 6th inning. It was Tristan Gray, who knocked a double. And that was the last batter faced for Taylor C. As the next pitch, again, misses low, and it's a 3-0 count here to Reese Chapman. There is a left-handed arm warming up, or a right-handed arm warming up in the Kettleers bullpen. As the 3-0 pitch comes in from Ebner, it's another breaking ball that just barely misses the outer edge. And Reese Chapman is on his way to first with a 4-pitch walk.
Ebner's been dominant so far today, 9 up, 9 down. Before that, free pass to Reese Chapman, but look for Ebner here to try and get something on the ground and pick up the twin killing.
Yeah, it's something that he does a great job of as he checks back at first, and Chapman's in there standing up. Through those first 9 batters faced for Ebner, only notched 1 strikeout, so pitching to weak contact is something that has been his forte this season, and relying on more of that in his 6th outing of the season. So his first pitch missed up and into Eli Putnam, who's 0 for 3, and now Ebner comes set. From the stretch with the black glove just in front of his belt, takes a look over at first, and the 1-0 offering misses down beneath the knees of Putnam, and it's a 2-0 count. So 6 straight balls thrown by Mikey Ebner to start off this top of the 9th inning, and that brings Mike Roberts out of the third base dugout.
That was similar to what we saw in Ebner's last outing against Harwich. Really cruised through the first 2 innings of that he came out of the mound and just struggled in that last inning. Like we talked about earlier, Joey threw 67 pitches in that game, gave up his first hit and runs of the season, and came back the long ball, bit him a bit in that contest, and Ebner just losing a bit of control early on here in this top of the 9th.
Ebner was the CCBL Pitcher of the Week in late June, from June 22nd to June 28th, that being the second week of the season. Pitching 6 innings, didn't allow any hits, walked 2 guys, struck out 4. And someone who, going into this ball game, had a minuscule walks and hits per innings pitch percentage at 0.50, and 17 total strikeouts, that leads this active roster. But Mike Roberts has a word with him and the entire infield, and now something was said between him and the home plate umpire. Now Mike Roberts talking things over with Jeffrey Merzel. Roberts is heated as he continues to mouth at Merzel, who now just turns his back and walks up the first base line. Mike Roberts now to the aid of Peyton Kesselring, who walks out of the dugout trying to rein him in, as Roberts now exchanging some words with the rest of this umpiring crew. Out to the mound, you could tell he said something to the home plate umpire, and clearly Merzel returning the favor.
Roberts had been talking about a couple of calls that he thought were missed by Jeff Merzel, so he gave his opinion. Merzel gave his opinion back to Roberts, and Roberts still staying in the game. It's always good to see Merzel letting Roberts get his opinion out and Merzel giving it back to him.
We are unsure if Jeffrey Merzel did dismiss Mike Roberts from this game, but he recently just exited the dugout there, exited the surface of play, and he is headed towards the baseball operations office just beyond the snack shack at Lowell Park. So Peyton Kesselring will step up, and it looks like he will be the acting manager for the rest of this ball game for the Kettleers, as the Wareham Gatemen are trying to work their way back into this ball game, as Mikey Ebner missed with his 7th pitch in a row, but got over the top there to make this a 3-1 count on Eli Putnam. Now he comes set. 3-1 offering is a fastball, rolled on the ground towards Hansen on the infield grass, throws to second. Advincula's relay to first for 2 is in time. So a 5-4-3 double play silences any hope of the Gatemen getting back into this ball game. There are 2 outs now in the top of the 9th and a 5-run advantage for the Kettleers.
What a pretty play by the Kettleers infield. Luke Hansen fielding that ground ball. Jaron Advincula making the quick turn at second base, fired a missile over to Tanner Thatch at first base, and that's what we talked about with Mikey Ebner coming in. Did allow the walk against Reese Chapman, but always a pitcher that works to weak contact and gets a ball on the ground and lets the Kettleers defense let him get 2 outs.
So Sam White will be the batter. With 2 outs in this inning, the bases are cleared off for him, and the lefty takes a strike 1 at 90 miles an hour up and inside. So Ebner takes control, allows the first base runner for the Gatemen since the 6th inning, but immediately works the Gatemen into a double play, as that one's flared into the parking lot, and down 0-2 in the count goes Sam White.
That ball came inches away from nailing the first car in the parking lot. But now Sam White just 1 strike away of being the final out in this 6-1 game.
0-2 pitch, misses down low, and the count elevated to 1-2, facing Sam White for the 2nd time as Mikey Ebner. He bounced out to Tanner Thatch's last time up. Ebner comes set. The 1-2 pitch, fouled straight back into the fence. Sun casting its final glimmer of light at the top of the trees in right field, as this entire field covered by the shadows. Mikey Ebner comes set. His 1-2 offering is a breaking ball that misses up and wide to the left-handed swinging catcher and left fielder out of West Virginia, Sam White. He's 0 for 3 today, reached on an error in the fourth, a fly out and a ground out other than that. As the 2-2 pitch is called for a strike 3 on the low and outside corner. Ball game over. The Kettleers win it 6-1, taking down the #1 team in the West Division and taking control of the West Division by winning 6-1 here at Lowell Park.
What a massive victory for the Kettleers today as the offense came alive. You had contributions up and down the lineup. Easton Winfield with a pair of base hits. Sharon Advincula had an outstanding day. He went 3 for 4, had 3 RBIs. And really the main difference in this game, Joe, is you saw the offense for Cotuit really jump on the board early. They scored 2 runs in that bottom of the second. And after 4 innings of play, they led 4-1. And that really just propelled them as Taylor C. was masterful in his first start. And of course, when you have a bullpen arm like Michael Ebner, he doesn't need that many runs to give it or secure the victory, as Ebner allowed just 1 runner on base, and that was the walk in the 9th inning against Reese Chapman. And Ebner was his usual dominant self, and Cotuit picks up win number 18.
Kettleers throwing just 2 arms in this ball game. It was Taylor C. who pitched 5+ innings in this ball game, and then Mikey Ebner 4 strong innings after that. How huge is it for the bullpen moving forward? I know there's an off day on Monday, but just to save arms out there for a lot of turnover and a lot of guys still settling in, just must be huge for this bullpen to keep some of those guys fresh.
And this is something that we've talked about a lot because we've seen Mike Roberts push guys and try and get as many outs as possible. Gabriel Nard just a couple of games ago, a similar story where he struggled in the first inning but really settled in and got to end up working 4 full innings that day. And Taylor C. he gets 5 innings out on the mound, was dominant his first start. Then just to go to Michael Ebner, having the confidence in Ebner to go in, throw strikes, and get outs. He works 4 innings and saves a really tired and really new and used bullpen for Mike Roberts and company.
Mikey Ebner, 4 shutout innings, allowed just 1 base runner. Taylor C., 5 innings pitched, allowed 1 earned run. It was the solo shot off the bat of Tristan Gray. He allowed 4 hits overall, and 3 of them Gatemen. So silencing the rest of the offense other than that. Other than the 2 hits given up to Johan Desereau. But offensively, the Kettleers taking a early 2-0 advantage in this ball game with that 2 RBI single off the bat of Jaron Advincula. And how big is it for him to get back to his hitting ways up at the plate?
It's massive. And we talked about it earlier in the game, just the 7, 8, 9 hitters in this Kettleer lineup. When you can have a guy like Timo Becerra, Jaron Advincula, and Nolan Araki be your 7, 8, 9 hitters, these are some of the best hitters on your team. Timo Becerra was coming off of a 3 for 3 performance yesterday. He went 1 for 4. Jaron Advincula, who has been hitless for a few games, bounces back with another 3 for 4 performance and just needing a big hit and coming up and delivering that. That's something that Mike Roberts has talked a lot about, and that clutch ability, and Jaron Advincula put it all on display today.
But it didn't stop there. Moving on into the 4th inning, the bottom half of that lineup continues to get things going, but then it was Easton Winfield who knocked his 2nd hit of the ball game, drove in 2. How big has his impact been to this team in just a couple of games?
It's been massive. Winfield so far is hitting .368 in his 5 or 6 games played so far with the Kettleers. And just to have another talented outfielder, I know we were mentioning it earlier, but having guys like Easton Winfield, having Brandon Compton, Devin Taylor, Max Ballou, Charles Davalon, Nathan Hall. There's so many talented guys at the disposal of the Kettleers coaching staff. So whoever they send out, they know that they have full confidence that they can deliver. And Easton Winfield, just another really good day at the dish, hitting to all parts of the park and just really putting it all on display today. And it's been really nice to see with Winfield, a guy who came in the late stages of this season, has picked up a couple of doubles. He's now up to 3 doubles on the year. And just to have his power and discipline at the plate, it's been a much valued addition to the top of the Cotuit order.
We've talked so much about consistency from 1 through 9 in the order. We saw a lot of that today, and just to be able to have the bottom half of the lineup, top half, and middle half of the lineup clicking on all cylinders, how huge is that going into a big road game tomorrow at Chatham?
It's massive for the Kettleers, and you've seen this starting to build over the last few games, and they're starting to get more consistent at-bats, more hits, more everything. They had 6 runs today, 10 hits, and you're getting it's not just one guy or a few guys that have 3, 4 hits in a game. You're getting contributions up and down, so it's just massive.
Well, the Kettleers just completing their 17th win of the season, overtaking Wareham for the #1 spot in the West Division. Mike Roberts is joined alongside with Adele Huffman at field level right now.
Thanks, Joe and Alex. We're here at the 10th inning. Sorry about those technical difficulties later, but glad to be here, joined alongside head coach Mike Roberts with a 6-1 win against Wareham. And Easton Winfield coming in late July, but so much success already, Coach. What did you like from him?
Well, he's lining the baseball out in the outfield, and he runs really well and got a flat swing, and that's the reason he's up in the second spot in the order. I really like what I see. I didn't know anything about Easton except he was a good athlete. That's what I knew. He played football in Texas in 6A, and that's the highest division. If you play 6A in Texas, you're a pretty good athlete. So we're enjoying him being in that second slot. And I think the most important thing for us today was we only used 2 pitchers, maybe for the first time this year. And Taylor C., one of my Pirate buddies, Vic Black, recommended him, and Vic is the coordinator of rehab pitching for the Pirates, and he said he was a tough country slinger from Texas, and that's what he was. Reminded me of my upbringing in North Carolina and Tennessee, where these guys come out and they just kind of sling it for 5 or 6 innings and competitive. So Taylor got us off to a great start, and then we got some clutch base hits. And as you said, the first one really was from Easton.
And Coach, with a rocky start at the beginning of the summer, but then working our way back up and now first in the West Division, how does that feel?
It doesn't feel any different than last. I try to tell people you just play 40 games. You can get humbled every inning in this game, and really humbled. So I don't pay a lot of attention to it. It's the player's game. It's not the coach's game. I try to keep us somewhat coordinated. You said you had technical difficulties today. I had technical difficulties in the 9th inning. But it was a fun game.
And Coach, what are we looking to build on for tomorrow's game?
Oh, looking forward to Volchko being on the mound. He's a talented young man, and excited to see him go out there again and see who else comes out of the bullpen to help him on the backside. And we've been really fortunate. All these are new guys, and we have 2 more pitchers coming in on Monday. And I'll just keep praying at night and keep throwing them in there during the week and see what happens.
Well, Coach, you certainly had an amazing game tonight, and congratulations again. We'll see you tomorrow at Chatham.
Congratulating me for the finish on the game. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you to Coach Roberts for a great interview. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. at Chatham. This has been Adele Huffman at Lowell Park. We'll see you tomorrow, Cotuit family.
Thanks, Adele, and thank you, head coach Mike Roberts, once again for joining us on the post-game show from Lowell Park. He just finished up his 17th win for the Kettleers and his 449th win as a Cape League manager for Mike Roberts. And while it maybe didn't end the way that he wanted it to personally, they were still able to come out with the victory. And for Cotuit, it was mainly that offense from 1 through 9 in the order, as well as holding down the Wareham bottom half of the order, as you were just talking about, Alex. And that was key to today's 6-1 win.
It was massive as the 4 through 9 hitters in this Wareham lineup went 0 for 20 and just reached base twice. 1 walk by Reese Chapman. That came in the 9th inning against Michael Ebner. Then the error committed by Tanner Thatch in the 4th inning against Taylor C. But anytime you can limit the 4 through 9 hitters in this Gatemen lineup, this is a really talented lineup, deep 1 through 9. And you talk about it so much with Cotuit's offense clicking 1 through 9. This is a very similar offense with Wareham. Came into this game 2nd in the league in average, hitting at a 264 clip. And for Taylor C. and Michael Ebner to go out, absolutely shove on the mound, give up just 1 run, 5 hits in total, and hold the 4 through 9 hitters in this lineup hitless. It's just a testament to how well Cotuit's pitching
was going today?
Well, this was a Wareham offense that really struggled in the 4 games going into this ball game. Now just 12 runs scored in their last 5 games played, and Cotuit pitching playing a big part in that tonight. It was first Taylor C., who went 5+ innings. Mikey Ebner closed out the following 4. And the Kettleers just completed their 18th win of the 2024 campaign after game 28 of this season. And the Kettleers overtaking the Gatemen for the first place spot in the West Division. But that's going to do it for our coverage of game 28 of the CCBL season. We appreciate you guys working through with us during those technical difficulties as the streaming here at Lowell Park died on us after that 6th inning, so we weren't able to bring you Cotuit baseball from the 7th and most of the 8th inning, but we're able to join you for the end of that 8th frame and for the 9th inning as the Kettleers were able to close out this victory 6-1. From a broadcast partner, Alex Rocco, for our entire production crew, Jimmy Chantulis, Cam Christie, and of course our sideline reporter, Adele Huffman, we appreciate you spending a little bit of your Friday afternoon with us. The Kettleers defeat the Gatemen 6-1 and take the #1 spot in the West Division for the first time in this 2024 season. You'll hear from